Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame in his game because he is always the same.
That's me.
Welcome. For those of you who are new, we invite you to stick around a while. This is a twice-a-week sports podcast where we talk everything sports and athletics. We talk NBA, NHL, MLB, NFL, college athletics, European football, fan fights. We talk about it all, Grumpy Old Man. And we go live every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, so if you're new, we invite you to stick around a while. We invite you to subscribe on YouTube, to like on Facebook, and to follow on Twitter. Also, if you enjoy this content, make sure you leave a thumbs up. Apparently, that helps the algorithm and gets the podcast out to more listeners. But today, we've got a lot to talk about. A lot has happened, of course, in the world of sports, as it always seems to. Deebo Samuel, right as we were starting out the podcast, signs a massive 3-year extension with the San Francisco 49ers, securing himself in San Francisco for 3 additional years after this contract expires. Also, NFL news, Deshaun Watson. We will be finding out on Monday if there's going to be any disciplinary action thrown his way to start the season. Will he be serving a suspension to start the year, or will he be able to play start week 1? We're going to be finding that out on Monday. Also, camp starts tomorrow. So NFL camp as well as college camps start up tomorrow. So NFL and college sports are going to be right in the full swing of things. Yes, Grump.
Okay. NFL camp started last week.
Okay, they could start hitting tomorrow, I believe.
Okay.
Is that what it is? Or maybe I'm thinking college. I know I've seen a few clips of NFL. Maybe they're going to be able to go full pads and not just shells. I don't know. I know that yet tomorrow is something for the NFL as well. I know that college athletics, college football is back. They report to camp tomorrow. So I thought also the NFL had a date tied in there as well, Grump. So we're going to be talking about NFL action starting up, college athletics, college football starting back up with their practices and fall camp. Also, the death and passing of an NBA legend, Bill Russell. Grumpy's going to take us down the good old history path and kind of going ahead and sharing his stories. You used to be a Celtics fan around that time period when Bill Russell.
Okay, no, first of all, no. I was not a Celtics fan when Bill Russell was playing, okay? That was before my time.
Grumpy, what was that? When was that when Bill Russell? He died 88 years old.
Yeah, okay.
What did that tell you? Okay, he won 11 championships. I thought you were watching basketball at that time, Grump.
By the time I think he retired in 1969 or 68. No.
I guess I don't know my co-host as well as I claim to.
They were playing in the 50s. That's before I was born.
Okay, gotcha. So we're okay. Well, then Grumpy's not going to be sharing his insights and his time of watching Bill Russell. I guess you'll talk about the impact that Bill Russell's had on the sport, Grump. We'll also be talking about the MLB Trade Deadline. Juan Soto has 3 teams vying for his services in the near and long term. The St. Louis Cardinals, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and the San Diego Padres are going to be all fighting and duking it out to try to get Juan Soto on their team. So, Grumpy, we've got a lot to cover today.
Yes, we do. I'm still stunned that you thought that I was, watching basketball before I was born. Interesting.
Fair enough. Well, let's start off with that first. More of a somber topic, so then we can kick it into more fun activities later on. Bill Russell, a legend there in the sport of the NBA, passed away today at 88 years old, Grump.
Yes, without a doubt. Here's the thing. Probably the greatest winner in team sports history. I think he won 11 championships. Yogi Berra, I believe, had 10. But just one story that I've always heard about Bill Russell, he didn't like to sign autographs for people. But what he would do is he'd spend time, 5-10 minutes just to have a conversation with you. And you think about something like that, it says more about the man than where he would be willing to spend time with someone as opposed to just writing their name on a piece of paper or whatever. I that's one thing I found about him. I was like, wow, that's really cool, because most athletes will not do that.
Well, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know that about Bill Russell. You kind of get goosebumps when you hear stuff like that. You're right. It's easy just to go ahead and say, "Oh, let me just throw a little signature on there, smile for a pitcher, and on to the next one." Rather spend time, build that connection, and have an impact on a person's life, and just speaking with them for 5 minutes than it would be to sign an autograph on a basketball or on a pitcher.
And he does not get his due as a player, I don't think. And I think a lot of it's because the NBA at the time had whatever they had, 10, 12 teams, whatever it was. Very, very small league. The Celtics won every single year.
Yeah.
But like I said, and I'm glad you put this tweet up because I wouldn't have remembered some of these things. But he was the first black head coach in North American pro sports. He was a player coach for the Celtics. I believe it was the last year that he won a championship. I think it was 1968 or 1969. I did not know that he received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I did not know that. I know that he was a 11-time NBA champion and 2 times as a coach. And I didn't realize he won 5 league MVPs. I thought he had won 4. I didn't realize it was 5. I knew he had been a 2-time NCAA champion for the San Francisco Dons, the University of San Francisco. And like I said, I think it was like 1954, 55, whatever it was. And I knew that he was an Olympic gold medalist. But I mean, just look at those accomplishments. And like I said, the reason why he doesn't get the credit that he deserves is because he did it back in the 50s and the 60s. And for most people who write articles today, that's a time that they didn't have electricity back then as far as they're concerned.
It's funny too. You mentioned about, his career. He only played 13 years in the NBA. So it wasn't like he had you see guys sometimes playing, 15, 20 years in the NBA, 15, 20 years in professional sports. Bill Russell only played until he was 34 years old. This is a guy who was, an unbelievable talent at that as well. I mean, you look at the rebound numbers, you look at the guy dominant on the boards, a dominant guy in the league. And you're right. I think it did hurt that he did play at a time period where there weren't as many teams in the league. And that definitely didn't help, at least his rep. But where would you put Bill Russell all time? Number one, 2 questions. Where would you put him on his impact of the game? And where would you rank him on the all-time list of NBA greats?
For impact of the game, I think he was highly influential. Let's say as a black head coach, he came out and he was an abject failure. I think it would have set black head coaches back. And I'm not saying there was a boatload of black head coaches after him, but I think it would have set that movement back even further. And I think it took a special person to be the first in anything, not just black, but anything. The first person who does something.
There's always going to be more scrutiny and more eyes on you. And they're going to be, especially when you're in a situation like that, for certain.
And it takes a special person to be able to carry that burden, like Jackie Robinson, the things that he went through. Bill Russell went through the same things up in Boston, just to let you know. So, I mean, and I don't think that you can put too little of an emphasis on that, honestly. And he was a stand-up guy. He wasn't somebody who's, hey, look at me. I'm a superstar. I'm a media guy. That was not him. He was genuine all the time. He could be surly and brusque, but at the end of the day, that's who he was. And he didn't change who he was. And I think he was kind of like that because of what he went through. I mean, I can't speak more highly of a person than Bill Russell. I think they even named the playoffs MVP after him. I think it's the Bill Russell MVP trophy. So, kudos to that. But what was the second question?
My second question was, where do you have him rated as an all-time great? Is he a guy who cracks your top 10? Where do you have him in an all-time NBA list?
I'd say he's certainly one of the top 5 all-time defensive players in the game.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Maybe even top. He might even be the best. You got to
I mean,
remember.
I would say defensively, right? He's up there in the conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, the players weren't as athletic back then as they were now, but he could jump and touch the top of the backboard. I mean, he was a tremendous athlete. He wasn't 7'5". I mean, I think he was like 6'9", something 6'8", 6'9", but he was he could jump out of a building. And, people forget Wilt Chamberlain also played for the Philadelphia Warriors at the time. And, most times Chamberlain would have big numbers at the end of the game, and Russell would always say, yeah, well, look at the scoreboard. And, in the big moments, Bill Russell always come up and was able to stop Wilt Chamberlain. So, I mean, I just don't think he gets his due because of when he played. But, I mean, all time, I got to put him in the top 20 players all time, without a doubt. And I'm probably underselling him. Like I said, I did not see him play at his prime. I mean,
It's so tough too, because it's like you're trying to compare apples to oranges at times. That's why it's tough to rank Wilt Chamberlain. You look at the numbers, right? I don't think there's anybody else who posts numbers that are as close to as dominant as Wilt's were back during his heyday. And I'm sorry, Bill Russell played 13 years, not 12. But you look at Wilt's numbers, unbelievable. Every single year, he was leading the NBA in points, I mean, like, the guy was just a phenomenal player. But it just hurts because you're right. They played during the time period in that era before the NBA really started to expand, and it kind of started to flourish in that regard. But it's tough. It's like apples to oranges,
without a doubt. And like I said, for me, Wilt Chamberlain, probably the greatest talent ever. He played for the Harlem Globetrotters for a year.
Oh yeah,
and I don't. Most people who are of a certain age don't even know who the Harlem Globetrotters are, but they were wizards with the basketball, and he was good enough in their heyday to play for them. But Bill Russell got the best of Wilt Chamberlain most all the time. I mean, and that says something. Now, they were super talented. They were coached by Red Auerbach, certainly one of the top 5 coaches all time in pro basketball, maybe even higher than that. So it was a great organization, but players win games. And he was the linchpin for that team. I mean, it'll be sorely missed. Really will be.
You think about, and again, I don't want to take anything away from the Bill Russell conversation, but I just wanted to mention about Wilt Chamberlain. The guy throughout his career averaged, when all was said and done, over 30 points and 20 rebounds throughout his career, every game.
They had to change.
I know they had to change the rules of the game.
Yes, for him. That says something about him. But Bill Russell, tremendous. I'm trying to think of somebody modern day who we compare to. Maybe like Brady and Peyton Manning, right? I know Brady has all the records now, but in a big game, who are you taking? Are you taking Peyton Manning in his prime or Tom Brady?
Are you comparing Bill Russell to Tom Brady? Wow.
As a winner.
Okay, as a winner. Gotcha.
That's like in a big game, who would you want? You'd want Bill Russell in a big game. There are certain guys who are big game players. And I'm not saying Wilt Chamberlain wasn't, but in a big game, I take Bill Russell over Wilt Chamberlain every day of the week. Just like, Peyton Manning was a great regular season quarterback, but in the playoffs, I'd rather
have a different story.
Yeah.
The guy kind of wilted under the pressure.
Yeah. And I'm not saying Wilt Chamberlain, bowed to the pressure, but Bill Russell took his game to another level.
Yeah. Well, he was a 2-time NBA champion, Wilt Chamberlain, wasn't he?
Yeah. But the other guy was 11. I mean, there's a difference.
He was pretty damn good too.
There's a difference. It's like saying Peyton Manning. Well, Peyton Manning, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Yeah. Brady's got 7.
Is it really 7? I always forget. Is it 6 or 7?
7. He's 7-3.
Anyway, let's hit some comments here. James F saying, very bad loss for my Yankees today.
It doesn't matter.
Also saying, guys, how much longer will Don Mattingly be coaching the Marlins?
He'll finish out the year. That organization just, Jeter left earlier in the year because he felt they weren't doing what they were trying to do to win. Don Mattingly has to feel the same way as a former Yankee. I didn't even realize he was still managing there till last week. it just kind of is what it is. Who's going to want to take that job when that the organization doesn't really care about winning?
An ownership group just doesn't give you the support you need to put a successful ball team out there on the field.
Yeah.
Alexander says, "What's up, guys? How are you? I forgot to tell you guys that Facebook Islanders media cartel have linked PK Subban to the Islanders. I guess they forgot we have enough defensemen. Now, Grump, you may have seen that more and more people, independent individuals who have no ties to the Islanders say they know the situation with Kadri, and all signs right now are pointing to the Islanders and Kadri."
Okay, but that's possible, but PK Subban, that's not happening.
Correct.
I mean, to me, I don't know. I never thought much of him as a player. He was more interested in marketing himself, and I think that'll pay off for him in the long run.
It for certain does, because here's the thing with PK. He's a likable guy. He kind of am I thinking that PK also had a little bit of a dirty streak?
No, I don't think Subban had a dirty
streak. Occasionally he threw a few hits like that, but maybe he didn't. I don't know. There's defensemen I feel like always get branded as it's easier to be, to claim them as a little bit more of a dirty player, because if you're a forward and you're a dirty player, you're like a rat. You're like a freaking Marchand, or you're like a Lucic. You're just somebody there. Yeah, this bastard. But I feel like all defensemen kind of have to carry a little bit of that mean streak. But this is what I was talking about. So this guy here, Mark, he does scouting central there for Independent Bureau. And a former NHL scout, he said, just got off the phone with the guy that knows. And I think that Nazem Kadri is done already to the Islanders. They have to clear up some cap room, and then it will be announced. I'm far from an insider, but I'm very confident it's done. Well, he says great signing by the Islanders, and Kadri deserves every penny. Ugh, my God.
Okay. If you're having to clear out cap space when you have $12 million in cap space and, 3 restricted free agents to sign, and you have 12, and they're not going to make buku bucks, it tells me the deal is way too big for Nazem Kadri.
You know what? Honestly, and we said this on yesterday's podcast for the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. I promise you, if he gets signed, we'll have an emergency podcast that day. Yeah, right, Grumpy?
Yeah, I would think so.
Because I assume the contract is going to be so horrendously bad, it will have to be. If it's even if it's a good contract, if it's a meh, we still might have one.
They offered less than $9 million a year for Johnny Gaudreau, who's, I want to say
an infinitely better player than Nazem Kadri.
Yes.
Infinitely better.
Not twice as better, but 50% better.
I'd say Johnny Gaudreau, if we're putting him in tiers of hockey players, Johnny Gaudreau is a top tier guy. He's a tier 1. He's at the top. He's at the lower end of tier 1, though. He is still a tier 1 player, right? Sometimes he'll have years where it's like, yeah. Other times he'll have years where he's just dominant, like he was last year. Nazem Kadri, in a career season for him, is at best a middle of the road or bottom tier tier 2 player. Most times he's around a tier 3 guy.
Right. For me, he's a tier 3 player.
I was about to say most times I said in a career year he was a bottom tier 2 guy. He's a tier 3 guy. Guy who puts up 45, maybe 50 points a year on average. A guy who, does a little bit of everything. A guy who plays with a mean and nasty streak. A guy whose intangibles off the ice and his aggression there, what he brings to the locker room, is more valuable than the points he puts up on the board. But it's not necessarily something the Islanders are desperately in need of.
He's 32 years old.
That as well.
He's 32 years old. Why would a guy like this have a contract anything more than 3 years? You should not. Look at what David Perron signed for.
2-year deal. He was 34, but he signed for a 2-year deal.
2-year deal.
And David Perron is a guy who did it more consistently year in, year out than Nazem Kadri has.
He's put up bigger numbers.
They play different positions.
True. So
it is worth saying Perron's a wing and Kadri's a center. So
I just think they're very similar in
age and production.
Yes.
Gotcha. No, I agree. Alexander says, Grump, I thought you said Tua has a noodle arm. We've got, yes, we'll show that. We'll show that clip on the air. And Alexander says, damn, TJ's put more years on you, Grumpy. I know.
He's putting way too many years on me.
Joseph C. said, rest in peace to Bill Russell, best defensive center of all time, winningest professional athlete in terms of team sports ever, and a human rights activist above all.
True.
Yeah, above all else. Absolutely.
Very well put. Very well put, Joseph.
Yep. Very articulated perfectly. And Alexander says, TJ, would you trade the farm for Shohei Otani? I would. I've got much higher. I regard Shohei Otani much more than I do a guy like Juan Soto. I'm not saying Juan Soto is not a good player. Shohei Otani is heads over heels a better player than Juan Soto. Shohei Otani during his prime will be better than Juan Soto will ever be in his prime. We've said it before. And you remember when I said this too? This year, this career year that Aaron Judge is having right now will be better than any single year that Juan Soto will ever have in his career. This year right here, better year than Juan Soto will ever have in his career. Mark it down, Grumpy. Book it now.
Who's a better player over the long run? It's going to be Juan Soto.
Remember when you were arguing with me just a second ago that this year? Oh, yeah, Aaron Judge.
Over the long run,
I'm not sure he's
over the long haul, Juan Soto is going to be a better player than
Aaron Judge is always a better batter than Juan Soto.
No,
when all things are done,
no, he's not.
Aaron Judge will be a better batter than Juan Soto.
Never freaking ever. Never ever. No.
Okay,
100% disagree. 100% disagree.
Man. I want Otani with the Mets. And also the fan fight, CJ. Don't forget. Okay, we want Alexander. Gungun says, my sports loving brothers. Say what you want about Mr. Vogelback, but so far, so good. That big bastard Vogelback.
Good for him. I'm rooting for him. I like the Mets.
What does his numbers look like so far? I wasn't sure.
280 pounds, 6 foot tall.
No, 280 pounds, man. That's assuming he's slimmed down. He's cut himself off. He's cut himself off the diet. He's put himself on a diet. So far, right now with the Mets, 5 games in, hitting 333. Not sure what he hit today if he played. He's hitting 333. 12 at bats, 4 hits, 2 doubles.
Well,
5 strikeouts.
Well, like I said, I mean, if he comes in and produces like they expect, they don't have a first baseman. I mean, they got Alonso, but I think he's more of a DH type. I mean, whatever. I thought they should have done something else. I didn't think that was their greatest need.
Grumpy, the Yankees don't need Soto. Yankees need pitching. That's what wins championships.
True. Pitching wins championships. But if you run the risk of losing Aaron Judge, boy, it sure would have been nice having Juan Soto, who in the long run is going to be way better.
Alexander says, rest in peace to a legend, Bill Russell, and a pioneer. Absolutely. Joseph C. said, I laughed so hard when Castillo ended up with the Mariners. I won't lie. I guess the Yankees will have to pivot to Montas or Rondon.
For me, the toughest thing with anyone that the Yankees acquire, particularly pitchers, is can they handle New York? It's a special market. It really is. And some guys are mentally tough enough. Some guys are not. Ed Whitson was. I
always think about a guy who was able to handle, or the guys who were unable to handle New York were great pitchers outside of New York, were great pitchers before they went to New York. Carl Pavano was one of those guys who I always thought was a steady pitcher, before he went ahead and joined up in New York. And I mean, in New York, he was just miserable. And I mean, miserable.
It's the difference playing for a big and a small market. Sonny Gray was really, really good with the Oakland A's.
He was also a fly ball pitcher, and playing in Oakland as a fly ball pitcher, that works well.
Okay. But here's the thing, right? So he's terrible. He's good in Oakland. He's terrible when he comes to the Yankees. Cincinnati, which is a fly ballpark for home runs, he was really good there. Minnesota, really good there. They're smaller markets. Some guys can't pitch in a big market. The pressure is too much for them. I mean, you remember like guys like Pedro Martinez. I'm just talking about guys from other teams who would have succeeded in New York. Pedro Martinez, Kurt Schilling, right? Randy Johnson was not great when he played for the Yankees. He was good, but he wasn't great. You have to have a certain
Randy Johnson when he played for the Yankees.
I don't know. He was older. But you have to have a certain type of mental makeup to make it playing in New York. It's just different. And unless you live in a small market as a player, unless most of the fans that we have on this show come from a big market. But you see guys from small markets, it's just different going to New York. It just is.
Okay. Randy Johnson was 41 years old when he joined the Yanks. Okay, let's cut the guy some slack.
Okay.
And yes, he was off the year before with the Diamondbacks. He finished second in the Cy Young voting. But I mean, he was still 41 years old for the Yankees. Come on, let's cut the boy, first ballot Hall of Famer Randy Johnson, a little slack. James F says, "Are you guys going to be on during the Hall of Fame game?" Oh, I assume for like the NFL Hall of Fame game.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, if it's on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be on. And Drew L said, TJ sent you a video, although I was trying to make a better one. I'll send it to you. Okay, we'll be on the lookout. Alexander says, great accomplishment. He's the real GOAT.
I think he's talking about Bill Russell. I'm going to say no. I don't think he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, he was talking about Bill Russell. James F says, Nicole died at 89 years old.
Maybe it's
that is
Michelle Nicole.
Oh, Michelle Nicole. Okay.
Yeah, she was on Star Trek.
Oh, Gungun says,
played Lieutenant Uhura.
Gungun says, TJ, you claim that you're not a rock and roller, and I'm sure you're familiar with these classics. We Will Rock You, of course. Rock and Roll All Night. Oh yeah, I want to rock and roll. Oh yeah, it's Stairway to Heaven. Yep. Blitzkrieg Pop, and Baby Shark.
Do you know any of the singers of any of those songs?
Oh man. Shit.
If you know the songs, you should know the singers.
Oh man, We Will Rock You. Is that sung by Led Zeppelin or is that sung by shit? Give me another one. Hold on.
It's not Led Zeppelin. It is a British band though.
Give me AC/DC.
AC/DC, no.
Give me another hint.
Lead singer is dead.
Oh shit. Grumpy.
A really flamboyant lead singer.
Oh, Queen.
Queen, yes. Queen.
Rock and Roll All Night. Oh.
You'll never get that.
Yeah, I was about to say. Stairway to Heaven's Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, that Rock and Roll All Night was Kiss.
Okay.
Wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. Yeah.
Blitzkrieg Bop.
That's from a New York band.
The Ramones.
The Ramones. Very good. You got
lucky. Why? I literally see where I live here. I literally see people walking around with my Ramones shirt on.
Okay.
I see you have a Ramones shirt, and now I notice people like, oh, they're wearing the Ramones. So I have to be a popular band.
I wore a Ramones shirt when you were living here, and I would play Blitzkrieg Bop.
Okay, great. And Baby Shark. You know what the bad thing is? The first thing when you said Baby Shark, all I thought is the that TV or the little cartoon Baby Shark.
Baby
the little
Shark,
cartoon song.
I think that's what
that's the one I think of, baby.
That's what I because that's the only song I've heard of.
That's the only Baby Shark I know, Gungun. Master Lego Yoda says, I so badly want to see a Yankees Mets World Series.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Bill Russell, top 3, says James F. Maybe it's the defenseman, mid-defensive center. Maybe it's the defensive NBAer. Master Lego Yoda says, hopefully the sign stealers don't get their way in, talking about the Houston Astros.
They're good. They're good.
Joseph C. says, I always wonder how many titles Wilt would have won had Russell never played.
I don't think it was all Russell. You got to remember that Boston team, Havlicek, Jones, Heinsohn. I mean, they were loaded. Sanders. I mean, they were really, really good and a great coach. It was modern. It was the modern basketball style. They went from set shots to what the Celtics did.
Alexander says, it's funny. You guys mentioned that we say guys like LeBron or Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, Iverson. Russell needs to be in that conversation too.
Okay. Iverson is not in that conversation.
I was about to say Iverson. I think is he's the odd man out of that combo. I mean, a hell of a player, but not in the same breath as those guys. Alexander says the TJ and Grump show needs to have a call-in day. One day we'll have the call-in there on TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. Why not? And we lost there. Yeah, she played LT Who the hell is that?
Lieutenant O'Hara.
Oh, gotcha. Brian J said, "Let's go Mets, the best team in New York." Grump.
Now, do you
Mets.
remember? Wasn't even 2 weeks ago, maybe even a week ago. People were thinking the Mets are done. I'm panicking. The Braves are going to pass it. No, the Mets going to be okay. And here's the thing:
DeGrom's still not even back.
Jacob deGrom comes back Tuesday.
Yeah, he's not even back yet. Alexander says, not taking anything away from Brady, but minus the Super Bowls, I think Manning is the better all-around QB. I don't agree with that.
No way.
You look at the years when Brady had Randy Moss, and Randy Moss was not, he was kind of towards the tail end. He was like 30 years old, but still a great, an unbelievably great wide receiver. I mean, think about, you had Peyton Manning, had Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, both through the prime of their career, and Dallas Clark, a fantastic pass receiving tight end. And you had Edgerrin James at running back. That freaking Colts team offensively was unbelievable. And they played in a dome. So
that's it right there.
I was about to say, they weren't like they were playing in snow games and windy, cold weather games. They're playing in the dome in the middle of the time period in the cold months of the year. I don't know. He was a hell of a QB, but no, Brady, I put Brady above.
He was a great regular season quarterback, but you could beat him. You could absolutely beat him because in the big moment, he gagged, he choked. I think
his casting crew was better than Brady's ever was.
Offensively for certain.
Yeah.
But I mean, just look at Brady, right? You get him out of New England where, what were his weapons? Gronk, Hall of Famer, right? He had
Randy Moss for a few years.
He had Randy Moss for 2.5 years. That was it. He was only there 2.5 years. Then you're talking about Wes Welker,
Danny Amendola.
There's
Edelman.
Edelman, and Gronk for certain. Gronk's a Hall of Famer,
but he was there for a limited time.
But Marvin Harrison,
Deion Branch.
Yeah, Deion Branch was okay. He was good. I mean, but not the guys say, "Oh man, these are all-time greats." No, that's not the case. And then you see him go down to Tampa Bay, and he's got some guys who can really play, and he leads the league in throwing touchdown passes. I mean, at 44 years old. I mean,
I would have loved to have seen what Brady would have done if you took the same exact casting crew that Peyton had. Shit, man. Dallas Clark. At that time period, tight ends were not necessarily guys who were always steady Eddie, sure-handed guys. I mean, in the league, you can name all the tight ends on one hand that were guys who can actually catch the football. Dallas Clark, Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates. And you had Winslow was a good one too. Or Sharp. Maybe Shannon Sharp was around that time period too.
But you cannot underestimate how much easier it is playing in a dome where the conditions are controlled. Brady played, in the north, New England, rain, sleet, snow all the time, wind. You look at Peyton Manning when he had to go outside in cold weather, wasn't that good?
Brian J said, "Yo, TJ Grump, did you see the rumor the Islanders signed Gaudreau?" I did. We did, unfortunately.
If it's a manageable deal, I just don't think it is going to be. But if it is, and let's say they move Brock Nelson, because that's what they have to do, right? You can't move. If you move Barzal, I just don't think there's any way he resigns. He's going to say.
They want to put Nelson on. I think they want to put Barzal on the wing.
Well, that you want to get him to leave, have him change positions and say, nope, I'm gone. And then it's a really bad signing because if you lose him, you got to rebuild. You're not going to be rebuilding with a 32-year-old. How many points do you expect out of Nazem Kadri if he plays for the Islanders next year?
Does he play on Matt Barzal's line?
I don't care if he does or not.
If he plays on Matt Barzal's line, I'm expecting 60.
50, 55.
I think 60 if he's playing with Barzal.
You realize
if Kadri's playing with Barzal, I'm expecting Barzal to be putting up one a game. It's a little bit of a different system. I'm hoping they're going to see a little bit more. They're going to open up a little bit more of it offensively.
I don't know. I just don't expect. I'm just looking what has done the rest of his career. That's what he is.
Alexander here saying it's not Don Mattingly's fault. Absolutely. Goon says, Grumpy, back in the 80s, did you rock a mullet or embrace the Springsteen look?
Mullet. I had a mullet.
And Brian J said, what a bust coming. A 45 to 50 point player on the Islanders. Shaking my head. Alexander also says, now the question, if indeed Kadri is an Islander, would you guys be okay if John Gabriel Pageant was on the move? It just doesn't make sense to me, because are you going to bring Kadri in to play the third line center? Are you moving Brock Nelson down and demoting him to third line center? I can't see it.
Yeah, I don't.
Jean Gabriel Pageant would be the guy I'm most happy to move, because I think he's got a lot of hard miles on him, and I think he's kind of wearing down just based off the style that he's always played. But I really fear a long contract, a long term, and a large AAV. That's what I fear.
Again, they keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. Signing guys in their 30s. Lamoriello treats free agency like when it first happened, when Dave Clarkson signed from New Jersey to go to Toronto, 31 years old, 7-year deal. I mean, you just don't do that. And here's the thing. He's not a generational talent. He's a good player. I'm not saying Nazem Kadri is a bad player.
He's an above average player.
Yeah, he absolutely is. But he's not a difference maker.
I wouldn't even put him, as you look at his career, I wouldn't even put him in the tier of a good player.
No, he's a good player.
I think if you look at his career as a whole, he's an above average guy.
Well, that's good, right?
I don't think if you look at most years, he's not even a top 100 skater, not even a top 100 skater minus goalies in the league. That's an above average guy. If you're not top 100 out of all the skaters in the league minus goalies on average, right? I'm outside of the top 100. I don't know. That's an above average guy. You've got to be in the top 100 to be a good player in my book, right? Great's the top 50, and elite, you're looking at 20 around there.
Yeah, I just think Lou Lamoriello is out of his depth right now.
Yeah, horrible signing. He's a Brock Nelson type player, says Brian. Doug R says Lou needs to go next door and bet $2 on Canillas on Maiden.
Quinellas.
Was that
Maiden claiming hags? That's a horse racing term.
Oh, gotcha. I wasn't sure what that was, Alexander. But the one thing was that who the Leafs are missing since Kadri left. They haven't won shit. Well, they didn't win anything with Kadri.
They haven't won since 1967.
They haven't made it past the first round of the playoffs since what, like 2004? 18 years now.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, we do need a winger for certain. State of Survival says prediction: we sign Kadri and ship out Nelson plus for Robert Thomas on Dallas. They just re-signed Robert Thomas back. Right?
Robert Thomas is with St. Louis, so
Robert Thomas just signed the extension, though, correct?
Right, with St. Louis.
Extension. Okay, got it.
8 year deal, whatever it was.
Yeah, huge.
He's going nowhere.
Brian J says, I wonder what the Mets are going to do for MLB free agency.
No, I think he's talking about the trade deadline.
Oh, trade deadline. I'm sorry. MLB trade deadline.
I tell you, I still think they need an outfielder. I still think that's why I thought Juan Soto was perfect for them. That would have really, right? Excuse me,
reliever, right? That's what I'm thinking. They need a reliever.
Yeah. I still think they need an outfielder and relief pitching, not a closer, but like setup guys. I
wish they could add a big bat to the lineup.
Juan Soto was there for them.
I know Vogelback is the guy, right? I know Vogelback's the guy they added, but for the big bat.
But you didn't need him. But to me, they needed an outfielder. In my opinion, they needed an outfielder, a stud outfielder. There was one available, and they cheaped it out. They played typical cheap Mets. The Mets think they don't play in a big market. They just do.
And Alexander says, TJ, I don't know about that with Soto. I think Soto is a better all-around player than Judge and Otani. No freaking way.
Here's the thing. Soto's 23 years old. Judge is 30, and Otani's 29.
Otani's 28, just turned 29, I think, or he hasn't turned 29 yet. Maybe he's
29. End of the day, Juan Soto is going to put up bigger numbers than both of those guys.
End of the day, Shohei Otani's a Hall of Famer. Juan Soto might not be. Simple. I think it's that freaking simple. Okay. Shohei Otani is a Hall of Famer. No freaking doubt.
Shohei Otani has played 3 years in the majors.
He's played more than 3 years in the majors.
1 year he was hurt. I'm not going to throw that one out. He's been 4 years. He's been in North America. 1 year he was hurt. He played a little bit. But I'm not diminishing him as a player. I'm just saying at the end of the
He
day,
just turned 28, Shohei Otani. No, he just turned
What-
28, not 29.
so he's 5 years older than Soto.
And
At the
he's
end
going
of
to
the
have
day,
2 more MVPs than Juan Soto.
at the end of the day, Soto is going to be a much better player.
Ugh.
And I'm not, because here's the thing. I'm talking about hitter. I'm not
Okay,
saying
a
pitcher.
player is everything. Hey,
Okay.
okay, Juan Soto's not going up there on the mound anytime soon, bro.
Okay. He's a unicorn. He's a unicorn.
Exactly.
At the end of the day,
First ballot Hall of Famer. That's correct.
Okay, no, he's not, because he's only been in the league 4 years. He's not a Hall of Famer. This is the same
He is
discussion
going
we
to
have
be a
all the
first
time.
ballot Hall of Famer, Shohei Otani. Book it down now. I told you the same thing about Clayton Kershaw years ago, and you said, "Whoa, we could blow."
I'm going to say the same thing I said then. He's going to have to do it for quite a while longer before that's the case. And here's the thing: Soto, his career has been better to start than Judge or Otani. What did they do when they were 23 years old? One wasn't even here.
Won Rookie
I
of the
was
Year
still
at
in college.
23. Won Rookie of the Year his first year in 23. So
Who did?
yeah. Shohei Otani did.
He wasn't 23.
Yes, he was. His first year he played in the United States was 2018. That's when you said, "Oh, he's only played 3 years." This is his 5th year in the United States.
I said 4 years. I didn't. I said he's played actually 3 years. 1 year he was hurt.
Okay, he's played 5 years in the MLB.
Juan Soto is going to be a better player over the long haul than either one of those guys. I stick by that.
You're going to be so freaking wrong. Anyway,
Okay.
Brian J says Aaron Judge going to LA, and also Grump. Alonso is getting better and better at first base, says Alexander.
He's not a good first baseman. He's not.
Brian J says Mets are better than the Yankees. Wait till the Mets make a big trade.
I like the way the Mets are built better than the Yankees.
Is there actually validity behind this Shohei Otani to the Mets, or is that just all they're just linking him to a big market?
If I was the Mets, I'd much rather have Juan Soto.
I'd take Shohei Otani in a heartbeat.
Not me. Not me. He's 23. He's 23, and he's already, like I said, he has numbers at 23 that these guys couldn't even dream of.
Oh, shit. Stop. What are his numbers? He said 243. Shohei Otani played better at 23 years old than Juan Soto has.
He's hitting by himself in that batting order.
Dude, what do you think freaking Otani's doing out there for the Angels?
Mike Trout plays with them.
Oh my God! You got Josh Bell. You've got Josh Bell playing over there to help protect him a bit.
Bell bows.
Juan Soto's hitting 243.
Josh Bell has benefited from batting behind Soto, who's just walked over and over and over again.
243.
And then he gets the pitches coming over. No.
243.
Here's the thing: you don't know anything about baseball. You couldn't play it when you were a kid.
243.
Couldn't do it. Just couldn't do it. There's no comparison between the players. There's just none. Overall, there just is.
Otani is just miles ahead of Juan Soto. Juan Soto, when he dreams and makes himself a little, plays on the video games, plays MLB, he says, "Oh, and this one, I'm going to pitch and hit. Maybe I'll be able to do both competently, not just being a good hitter or a great hitter. I'm also going to be a fantastic pitcher." He can only dream of that and only do it on video games. All right? Shohei Otani's going to be a first ballot guy. No freaking doubt. First ballot guy.
Okay, let's move on. I don't want to have this discussion again. You're wrong. I'm right. Everyone knows it, except for you, as usual.
Grumpy, TJ, do you think it is a mistake for DeGrom to opt out after this year, the contract?
No. Nope. And it depends on what he does, down the stretch. If he pitches well, he's going to be the number one free agent on the market.
Brian J saying Tampa Bay has a small market team, but they develop talent in the minors.
Yeah.
Joseph C says, I hate the GOAT argument when it comes to the NBA because it's too much nitpicking and narratives. There's probably 5 guys who you can make a claim to have GOAT status. I would go with Jordan, but plenty disagree.
I never thought I'd say Wilt Chamberlain is the best, most talented player ever. That's just the guy I go with. He could have played at any era.
Chamberlain is in the conversation. Brian J says Jordan is the GOAT. Christopher C said happy birthday to the late Jose Fernandez.
I don't know who that is.
Brian J said I like Manning, but he's not the GOAT. Come on, fam. And Drew L said Deebo Samuel finally signed his extension in San Francisco. Yes, let's talk about that. We mentioned it at the top of the hour. Deebo Samuel getting a big contract, 3 years, $71.55 million contract with over $50 million of that guaranteed, Grumpy Old Man. $58.1 million of that money guaranteed.
Pretty good contract for a guy picked in the second round.
Hey, you know what? Good job, Deebo Samuel. You earned it. Here's the other thing, though. Don't be bitching and complaining if they're using you at that running back role.
Nope. No complaints.
Paid, brother. You got paid, man. They're going to want you to do that still.
That's what he wanted. He wanted to get paid. Any of these guys, I hate this team. I hate that. I don't like how I'm being used. They just want money. I don't blame them.
I'm considering retiring, aka pay me more money so I will come back.
Careers are short in the NFL. I don't begrudge these guys making whatever they can make.
Exactly. Maximize what you can earn while you still can play. James F. says, I can't believe tomorrow's 6-month anniversary of living in Pittsburgh. Wow.
I can't believe it either. I can't believe it's 6 months, James.
Wow. My goodness, James. That's 6 months ago.
Doesn't seem like that long ago.
Let me ask you this. What are you expecting from the 49ers this year? What are you expecting from Trey Lance this year? That's the big question. I think for the 49ers, that's the huge question. You've got the weapons. You've got Ayuk. You've got Samuel. You've got Kittle. You have a fantastic offensive line, and I mean a fantastic offensive line. Trent Williams, still at his age, is, I want to say, the best left tackle in all the game. You've got an amazing offensive line. You can run them, pound the football down people's throats. What are you expecting this year from San Francisco?
I don't want to hear you talk again about their offensive line. Do that on your own time.
Trent Williams, best offensive lineman still in the league at his age.
Okay. I think for me, Trey Lance is still a rookie. And
he's a second-year guy.
Yeah, he didn't play last year. He played a couple of games. He wants to run. He doesn't want to throw the ball. He wants to just, do things that guys who have that type of, who are just that athletically gifted want to do. I'm not saying he's not going to turn out to be a good quarterback. I just don't think it's going to be this year. I think he just wants to, he looks, if his first read isn't there, I'm running. That's not a way to be successful as a team. I'd feel better if he was on a team like Detroit, and a team that is on the way up. You're expecting him to come in and take a team that really was just a quarterback away from winning a Super Bowl last year. And you're expecting him to come in and take you to that next level as a rookie after coming from, like a FBS school where he only played. I mean, really, you look at the last 4 years, I think he played 3 games.
College organization, but yeah, Division I AA school.
Yeah. I mean, he only played 1 game in 2.5 years there. And then, he comes in here, he plays 2 games last year. He has not played a whole lot of football.
Gotcha. I don't want to take us too far off track. What I'm expecting from a guy like Trey Lance, I'm expecting him to grow in comfort. I'm expecting him, though, it's going to take a while, but I'm expecting him to grow in comfort. I don't give him the same rookie brand as you do. He should be ready to step in day one and to contribute. He had the entire year last year to learn from the sidelines, the entire freaking year to learn the playbook, the entire year to learn how the game is completely different than when you're playing at North Dakota State. He had that year to get acclimated to it. I'm expecting this upcoming year, he should be able to contribute. Am I expecting unbelievable numbers from him? No. I'm expecting a guy who's probably middle of the road QB. If you write, well, here's the thing. I think he's going to struggle, but for a 49ers fan, and I think what they should expect out of him is to be a middle of the road QB. I think Trey Lance is the wrong guy they selected there. From what I've seen and what I've heard, and this is only just going off of what I heard from Elway and Montana, they said he's not ready. When you're hearing 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks who played for the 49ers say he's not there yet, that gives me cause of concern.
I mean, look at the teams he played against last year, right? He played against I'm not going to say mop-up duty. I'm not going to say that.
No, he wasn't. He just ran in certain packages. He was just a guy on certain packages that was played. It wasn't
there was a couple games he played when Garoppolo was out, right? The Seattle game where Garoppolo got hurt. He was 9 for 18, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns against Seattle. Okay.
Yeah, they're an awful team.
50% is not a good completion percentage. Then he had to play the next week against Arizona, and they lost that game. Arizona, they lose again at Arizona, 15 for 29, 192, and just an interception. Okay. And then the last game he played was the last one of the year against Houston, 16 for 23. Houston's terrible, right?
Yes.
16 for 23, 249, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He played against, he just was not, he didn't look like he was ready. He just didn't look like he was ready. And he likes to run. I mean, that's what he does. And I realize that's the way quarterbacks are now. But I mean, to be really successful long-term, you don't want your quarterback running around out there. It's just not conducive to keeping him healthy long-term. I'm not saying he's not going to be good. I just say when they have to play the Rams or, the Packers or some of the really good, tough teams in the league, they're going to limit what he can do. That's all I'm saying, because I don't think he's ready yet, coming from a Division I AA school, to jump right in and be a starting quarterback.
He's not jumping right in. He had the entire year last year.
But he didn't play. He didn't play. It's different from sitting on the bench and actually playing.
Don't say though jumping right in, because it's not jumping right in. Jumping right in is I've just been drafted and now I'm going from a Division I AA school to the NFL. He got time last year, not extensive, but he got time.
And he didn't look good.
Day at practice, he was out there in the NFL environment for an NFL organization. So he's jumping from the practice or the backup quarterback role to an NFL starting job. That's what he's doing. He's not jumping from the Division I AA school. I just don't like that. It's because it's not true.
He played one game against a winning team last year. They lost, and he looked terrible. Okay. And then he lost to another division rival when he came in to fill in for Garoppolo. The only team he looked good against was the worst team in the league, Houston. That was it.
Yep. And you've got to expect, you want to see more out of him. And I will have to tell you this, right? You better hope what, Grumpy?
He's going to take his lumps out there. That's all I'm saying. He's going to make mistakes, period.
Okay. You better hope that he pans out as a 49er fan, because, right, you select him 3rd overall. You still had Justin Fields. You still had guys like Mac Jones on the board, and you selected a guy like Trey Lance.
Well, they traded how many first-round draft picks to get him?
Yes, that too. You traded so much draft capital to move up to number 3 in order to select him too. So he better damn well be the answer at QB.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he won't eventually be. I'm just saying right now I would not expect that from him.
I don't like that he doesn't get a glowing endorsement from Montana or Elway.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Montana or Young.
Yeah. That should be a red flag.
Funny, I was looking back and I said I saw Trent Williams, 4th overall pick in that 2010 draft. And I was looking through this. I'd say Trent Williams is maybe the 2nd best player selected in this draft. And you look at how many of these guys that were players. I mean, Gerald McCoy, he was meh.
Gerald McCoy was really good.
He had a few good years. The Ndamukong Suh was a better guy. He was better than Gerald McCoy. The Ndamukong Suh had a few really dominant years. Eric Berry, he had a few good years.
Eric Berry was really freaking good.
He had a few good years.
More than a few.
Okay, he had a few good years. A few good years there for the Chiefs.
He got sick. I mean, he was really, really good. You just minimize these guys. He was phenomenal.
Give me a sec here. What do you get sick with?
Had some type of cancer, I believe.
Okay. I'm just saying, right? You look at it. There's not a guy on this list where you go, okay, yeah, Eric Berry's a Hall of Famer. I say Trent Williams is a Hall of Famer. I don't put Gerald McCoy or Ndamukong Suh in that category.
Freaking offensive tackle.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He played for a crappy team for a lot of years. I'm not saying he wasn't good. I think Trent Williams is still really, really good.
He's still the best left tackle in the game, right? Joe Hayden, he was good for a few years.
He was really good. Okay, look at the positions you're talking about. You're talking about cornerback. As soon as you lose your speed, guess what? Joe Hayden was he was all pro. I mean,
how many years was he all pro for?
I don't know, a couple of years. He was really, really good.
Give me a sec, because
Joe Hayden was really good when he was with Cleveland.
He was a 1-year second-team All-Pro guy. He was a good guy. He was a good corner. I said he's a few good years. I'm just talking about, right, when you're looking at the list, I don't see names that pop out and say, oh, Hall of Famer. Until you get down to the 2nd round, you say, oh, yeah, here's Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski and Trent Williams are the two guys really that are the best that were
Okay.
selected. Of those
Why did
groups.
Rob Gronkowski go that late? Because he had the back injuries.
I'm not saying he's not. I'd say Emmanuel Sanders has been more successful than a few of those guys earlier on in the list. I don't know, Grumpy. I was just looking at the draft and I thought to myself, I'm like, man, oh man, it's crazy.
You could do that with any draft.
Oh, I know. Antonio Brown too. Well, how things could have been.
Let me tell you something. Antonio Brown, if he wasn't a head case, he's a Hall of Famer.
I was about to say how different things could be because that's a guy talent-wise who deserves his spot in Hall.
I'm going to say Gronk is number one. Antonio Brown is number two.
You're shitting on Trent Williams, Grumpy.
No, I said Trent Williams is great as well. But I'm just saying Antonio Brown, the production he put up in Pittsburgh before he got his bell rung by Vontaze Burfict, he was the best wide receiver in the game.
Yeah, he was on track to beat Jerry Rice's numbers, on track to beat his most receiving yards and most receptions. If he continued that pace and played till he was like 36 years old or 37 years old, something like that.
And that's right. You would say, oh, definitely Hall of Famer. If it was TJ after 3 years, he's definitely a Hall of Famer.
Be a Hall of Famer based off the talent, the number, and productions. He should be a Hall of Famer.
This is what you should have said. Oh, he's guaranteed first team Hall of Famer. He's not getting in the Hall of Fame.
He deserves a spot in Hall of Fame
because you have to do it over a long period of time, and you can't. There's so many other variables that come into the Hall of Fame. So many.
He deserves a spot in the Hall of Fame.
He's not getting it.
I know he won't because of the off the field stuff.
So it is, unfortunately.
Yeah. So 49ers have to be happy about Deebo Samuel. Prediction, he says 45 to 55 points. Brian J said TJ Mayfield will have to go. I don't know if he's gone. If he's such a small cap hit, I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't know. You got to move out. You got to move out forwards. It's not about how much. It's not about cap money. It's not. They have the money. They have to move forwards because they have too many of them. They all suck, but you have too many suck. You got to drain some of the pus out of the organization. It has to be drained out. Put a spigot in there. Drain the pus that's populating.
It's like lancing a
boil.
Cyst.
A boil.
Lancing a cyst.
Just a big night. Pop. Got Dr. Pimple Popper out there. Pop out Bailey. Pop out Lee. Pop out half the damn team. Most of them suck. You got too many of them on long-term deals. You're gonna have to move somebody. Somebody has to be moved. You have to move actually more than one. You got to move at least two.
The Wicker Man says, how much of at all is he better than Brock Nelson? Talking about Nazem Kadri. I don't think he's better than Brock Nelson.
He's tougher than Brock Nelson. He's absolutely a tougher player than Brock Nelson.
I think Brock Nelson is a better player year in, year out than Nazem Kadri.
He's Carvel soft serve ice cream.
You Good says, could Jacob deGrom still enjoy a big payday after this year, even if he's as brittle as a Pringles potato chip?
If he gets through the rest of the season healthy, he'll get a big contract. He will, because he's that good.
Islanders never say die. And TJ in the Grumpy Old Man clip says, I feel like Lou is signing Kadri to make it seem like he's doing something. Yeah,
I think so too. I think it's a reactionary move. If he is in fact signed, it's a reactionary move like Garth Snow did when they lost Nielsen and Okposo, and he signed Andrew Ladd. That's exactly what it is. It's a panic move on a guy in his 32 years old. Panic move.
Joseph C said Ric Flair had his last wrestling match tonight at age 73. How many last wrestling matches has Ric Flair had?
He's had a few.
His last wrestling match at 73. God bless him. I'm amazed with all the drinking and drug use he made it that long. I met Ric Flair. I met Ric Flair at the courthouse.
He's a really nice guy.
He is a very nice guy.
He was so nice to my mother, and she saw him many times, and he was so nice to her. I remember we went to a book signing, and he was just so complimentary. My kid, you would believe it now looking at TJ now, but they were so polite. Thank you, please. And and he was complimentary of me, which is even better.
Oh, so he's buttering up your wheels.
He absolutely buttered my ass up, but he was really a super nice guy. He's had issues. He's one of those guys though, that just can't stay out of the limelight. Can't do it. And I feel kind of bad for him because he should not be out there taking bumps at 73. He took a beating last week where he bladed when Jeff Jarrett beat the living daylights out of him in a parking lot. And you know it's a work, but man, 73 years old, you're blading. God, and he, when you just look at him now, I watched some of his stuff. They showed him training for this. It's a tag match, or was a tag match, and it's hard. He's 73 years old. The fact that he could take any bumps,
He looks bad, man. I looked at
he
him
was,
up close.
he's
Go ahead.
lucky to be alive right
Yes.
now after he went through.
Well, with the drug use and everything like that, the fact that he's still alive blows me away.
For him, it was mostly alcohol.
Still, the abuse that he put on his liver.
He had multiple organs shut down just a few short years ago. And people were telling him, you're going to die. Is this what you want to be remembered for? I mean, he was just about dead. I think when his son overdosed, I thought that was really, really tough on him. It happened here in Charlotte, uptown. And I think he's just been different since then. I hated to see that he was coming back, and you look at the guys who've known him for a long time, and, they don't want to say anything bad about him, but you know what they're thinking? It's like, come on, it's 73 and, okay, I can't take bumps and I'm not 73. And, he's going to go in there against guys. He could legitimately get hurt. And I hope that didn't happen today. I know I'm going to guarantee you he won his last match, though. Guaranteed.
Andriel said the Nationals don't want to deal him in the division, especially to the Mets.
I think whoever gives them the biggest package, who they'll take.
Brian J says, no shot, TJ. No idea what that's referring to because it was a while ago, but fair enough. Joseph C said, I'm calling it now. The Mets are going to let DeGrom walk if he opts out, and they'll use that money to go after Otani in 2024. Eepler signed Otani when he was a general manager for the Angels.
Otani's going to play wherever he wants if he becomes a free agent.
And rumor has it, yes, the Mets are interested there. Drew Ellis said the Yankees are going to re-sign Aaron Judge. Their move was Benintendi. Stop with the Soto talk, Grump.
Yeah, I agree that too. I mean, I'm not saying they're going after him. I think they're definitely not going after him. That's why they went after Benintendi.
Brian J said Mets said Alvarez and Batty are off limits. That's their two top prospects.
That's dumb. That's dumb. Just dumb. Just dumb. Stupid. Dumb.
Brian J said Deebo Samuel said he doesn't want to play running back anymore. Well,
I don't give a shit. You're getting paid that kind of guaranteed money. I guarantee you he's going to be running the ball in
the backfield. Yeah, maybe not as many, but he's going to still have a few snaps in the backfield.
Book that.
Drill said Stein that extension just to be a fantasy bust this year. Oh, talking about Deebo Samuel. Ooh, Deebo, that is. James F said Jimmy G to Seattle. I think the 49ers making a big mistake letting him go.
So did Garoppolo go to Seattle?
No, I think that's the rumor, though.
Okay. Well, they desperately need a quarterback. But if you get Garoppolo, right? Okay. I mean, I guess that works for the short term.
Really quickly with Seattle as well as the Giants are the two teams that look to be most interested in the guy like Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, if you're the Giants, is that a move you'd want to make?
No.
I would.
No. Because guess what? If this pile of garbage, Daniel Jones, which is a pile of garbage, when you officially throw the stamp of disapproval on him saying he's not good enough, you need to go into the rebuild to draft a quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is a fucking game manager. He's an Alex Smith. That's not good enough in order to win yourself a Super Bowl. Simple as that. Okay. He's not the answer. Don't even bother pissing the time away and pissing years off my life and years off of their ability to rebuild and win a freaking Super Bowl in that pile of garbage.
You sound like me when I talk about the Islanders.
It's just so dumb.
Here's the difference. Jimmy Garoppolo this is the last year of his contract. You're going to have to go out. Here's the thing. I don't think what does it tell you? What does it tell you, first of all?
The fact that they're even talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, why the hell did they not go into the rebuild early? Why did they not go into the rebuild already?
Well, okay, here's the thing. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen do not think that Daniel Jones is the answer. Period.
He's not.
They didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So if they feel that they're there to win. First of all, they want to win. So if they go in, sign Garoppolo or trade for him, give him a fourth-round draft pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, and you're better this year, you still go out and get a quarterback in the draft next year. You still do that.
Oh, shit. What do you think? You think, Grumpy.
But this way you can compete this year.
I don't give a shit about competing this year. We have no chance.
You don't want it where your team loses so many years in a row that they view themselves as a loser.
Okay, the
Because
Giants don't ever view themselves like that.
It's real tough to get out of that mentality.
That quarterback freaking blows. Jimmy Garoppolo freaking blows. They don't have the right answer at QB. And it's not like good quarterbacks go. It's not like you're going to find a great quarterback from pick 14 on.
Is Jimmy Garoppolo really? Tom Brady was 199. Is Jimmy Garoppolo?
I said you don't often find really good quarterbacks.
Okay, but you can. You can.
Very few and far between.
Okay. Can I just say that you would agree that Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones?
Yes.
Okay. That's why they'd make that move. That's why they do it. Because they know Daniel Jones isn't the answer. You don't want to already write this season off before it starts. They're building something.
You know, also it's not the answer. That hack of a running back, Barkley. He's not the answer either. Gone. Goodbye. See you later.
Just a follow up on the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation. The number one job is between Mitchell Trubisky and Mason Rudolph. You know who is not even in the freaking loop?
Kenny Pickett will win that job.
He will not win that job. He will not win that job.
He'll be the starting quarterback. Kenny Pickett will be the starting quarterback for the Steelers come week 5. Book it now. Book it.
Okay. I want someone to clip that because that's not happening.
Clip it week 5.
If they're 0-5, then maybe. If they're 0-5, maybe. He's not ready. He's not ready.
Okay. James F. says, has Fournette lost any weight since you guys last heard about him?
Supposedly he was down to 245.
Slimming down. James F. said.
They said that he's played really at like 238, 240. 228 was what he was when he came out of college.
James F. said, why is it that Ndamukong Suh has not signed yet? What's going on with him?
He's 36 and he can't run anymore.
He's at the tail end of his career. I just think it's
over. It's over. If someone gets hurt, you might see them pick him up in season. If a team loses a lot of defensive linemen, you might see
the same thing the Buccaneers did last year with that corner. They brought in Richard Sherman for a year, whatever like that, and he wound up getting injured anyway. Brian J. said, "Yeah, heard Jimmy G is going to be on the move."
Sure.
Yeah.
Why would they want him?
Christopher C. said, "Grumpy, I hate to burst your bubble, but Trout is done for the year. I think he had the back injury. Hope he's not done for the year. I think he's still optimistic he's going to return, but who knows? I tell you."
He's saying he will be back this year.
Okay. He also says, Grumpy, would you choose TJ or Kadri for the Islanders?
I choose
Kadri.
I choose TJ.
Well, the Islanders you must be really wanting to push forward that rebuild, Grumpy, if you're putting me in over Kadri. So maybe that is.
I didn't say that's not what I was rooting for.
Oh, there it is. Brian J. says, rumor is the Giants, but the 49ers would have to send multiple first-rounders with that contract he has.
How about that?
Daniel Jones has been terrible at camp.
He's just not the answer.
He's awful. Awful. Frank says, hello, gents and ladies. Hi, Grump and TJ. What's up, Frank? Christopher C. said Jose Fernandez was the pitcher for the Marlins.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he was pretty good, too. He was pretty good. Young.
That's right. Oh, was it the guy with cocaine?
I don't know if he was. I think he was, but he died in a boat accident.
That's right. Jose Fernandez. Yeah, he was really, really good.
He was good. He was young, really young.
I was about to say, I got to pull up his stats. He was really freaking good.
Yeah.
Wrong. Jose Fernandez. Give me a sec.
TJ can show you sometime.
Yeah, that's right. Here it is. Let me pull that up. Next comment says Tyrod Taylor might start ASAP. Oh God.
No, but they know that. Here's the thing. You got a new they came from Buffalo, and here's the thing. Dable, I mean, right? He was with Alabama. He's with the Patriots, with Buffalo. He doesn't want to tolerate losing. He wants to win. He's familiar with Jimmy Garoppolo. He knows Garoppolo can run his offense. I think that's a smart move. And if they have to actually, you got to remember, again, $25 million against the cap this year. So San Francisco might have to give something up for someone to take Jimmy Garoppolo. Tell me you wouldn't do that if you're the Giants. If you get a first-round pick and a 3rd-round pick to take Jimmy Garoppolo off their hands. You wouldn't do that? I would.
Slap him on the bench. That's fine. Alexander said Hodgkin's lymphoma. Eric Berry had 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first-team All-Pro. He was really good.
He was excellent.
I don't know. I don't remember Eric Berry. Eric Berry wasn't a guy where you say, oh, he was ever the best corner in the league at that time.
He was a safety for the Chiefs. He was outstanding.
He wasn't the best defensive back in the league at that point.
Oh, man, he was really, really good.
He was good. I didn't say he was great.
Outstanding.
Fantastic.
3-time first-team All-Pro. How many guys are that? And that's when Ed Reed was still in the league. That's how good he was. They were the 2 best safeties in the league, him and Ed Reed. He's good. Really, really, really good. That's before Kansas City was any good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't put him in the same class as the other guys. Let me put you like that in that 2010 class. And Jose Fernandez, he was drunk with cocaine in the toxicology report when he crashed the boat. Because I remember something had happened, but that's right. I forgot how young he was. You look at his stats, and man, oh man, he died when he was like 23 years old.
He was young, very young.
At that point, he was already a guy who won Rookie of the Year. He was a guy with a career ERA of a 2.58 ERA and had 589 strikeouts and 471 innings pitched. I mean, he was fantastic.
Yeah, it was good. Can I just tell you something? I am super excited for the NFL right now.
So am I. Contract year, though, TJ, Brian J. says. Yeah.
By the way, TJ, I did send you a little text of a clip. Remember we talked about Julio Jones, and you were adamant that he was going to be number 3 wide receiver.
Number 3. That's correct.
And what was the article say?
I don't care what some article and
somebody said he's going to be like the best number 4 wide receiver.
Guess what? As I've said before, and I'll say it again, he's going to be the number 3. He's going to be the number 3 on Tampa.
Now, here's this. That being said, Russell Gage has looked great in camp. Really good. Brady's throwing to him all over the place. And Julio Jones has also looked good. So,
Frank, we got to get through these comments, Grump, so we can get to the actual show, so we can get to a few more portions I want to cover. Okay. Frank says, Yanks really looking at Syndergaard hard. Alexander says, why is Mayfield the odd man out? He needs to stay. Him and Sallow are a good pair. Yeah, I don't think Mayfield's on the move. He's too cost certain for us to move. Drew L says, Grump, why did you just grunt so hard when you said puss? Kind of sus, dude. Ugh. Yeah. And Brian J said reasonable contract. He's gonna need a contract. He's the odd man out. Package him up with a forward.
Here's what you should do. You keep him. I thought they should have moved to the deadline last year. You keep him to the deadline this year. If you're a borderline playoff team, you move him.
Apex Legend says, TJ, just shave it off. Your hair is thinner than Milbury's scouting budget as a general manager.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Holy shit. There we go. Apex Legends. Frank says, I have a feeling the Islanders signed Kadri. Who's going to move to the wing? Nelson or Barzal? I guess Nelson, but Barzal makes more sense. Yeah, probably Barzal. Alexander says here, did you see that Brock Lesnar lifted the ring with a tractor trailer? I sent it to you. Yeah, we can't watch that because they immediately take our stream down, but I'll just trust you on that one. James F. said, TJ, did you see the video of Ric Flair's last match? I did not, but again, WWE has those Autobots that just take the stream down.
He's not in WWE.
Those wrestling sites in European football have specific bots that just take streams down. So I'm not going to take my chance. And Goon says, Grump, how long did you live on Long Island for, and why did you flee?
I lived until I was 26 years old, and I left because everything was so expensive up there. I got married. 2 days later, I moved, and I started looking for a job in North Carolina.
There it is. Okay. We want to draft.
That was a long time ago.
Will Levi's to the Giants next year. Book it. He's not even, I don't think he's even a top tier guy, right? I think everybody's got Bryce Young up there on the list.
DJ Stroud. No, this Levi's kid is pretty good. He's up there too.
Okay. Waddle Robinson, Wandell Water, how the hell do you pronounce that?
Wandell Robinson.
Wandell Robinson. Sorry, it's a tongue twister for me. Already on the G-men. Makes sense.
I think the Giants realize they need a new quarterback. The whole thing is you have a new GM and coach. So anything that they didn't do previously, that's all moot. You got a new guy now. They know what they need. I like the idea of them picking up Jimmy Garoppolo, honestly, and maybe getting something back from San Francisco to take that huge salary off their hands. I think that's a great idea.
Wow.
Here's the thing. He's not a guy who's going to put you over the top, but he'll make them better.
Sorry, I just wanted to look at this. So the Barry Colts director of player personnel said Nazem Kadri is going to be a New York Islander.
Who
Barry
said it?
Colts. The Barry Colt is a CHL team. I believe it's an EOHL.
Oh, the Barry Colts. Okay.
Yeah. Director of player personnel says Nazem Kadri to become a New York Islander.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Does he improve what they have at the forward position?
Holy shit.
Does he improve what they have at the forward position? Yes. Is it a perfect fit? No.
But at what cost?
And yeah, the cost, I think the cost is going to be prohibitive. And that's when you make a mistake.
Drew L said, speaking of Daniel Jones, he apparently accidentally hit a disabled fan with a misplaced pass during camp. Sounds fitting. My God.
Well, he wasn't throwing a ball to them.
No, I was about to say that was it was completely by accident. John P, I assume that's what you had sent us there too. We were talking about Kadri earlier. Oh my God. Gungun says, will Zach Wilson make a big jump in year 2, or will the sexy Cougars distract him too much in the front row?
I think we can have a little bit of both. I think he will be better this year. To me, it's about if Mekhi Becton can play the tackle position well enough to protect him. I think that's huge.
Can he stay healthy? Mekhi Becton does a good job when healthy.
Okay, every injury has been food related. Can he stay away from the all-you-can-eat buffet table? I mean, that's the biggest thing for him.
Drill said, I'm going to announce this now. The Knicks for the play-in next year.
Wow.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor is better than Jones.
Tyrod Taylor sucks.
They're both bad. Both those quarterbacks are not good. Barry was a top 3 safety.
He was.
Okay.
He was really good.
And Frank says, grumpy old man, one of my best friends, a fellow Yankee fan, had a great question. Would Judge put up the same numbers if he had accepted the team's contract offer?
I think he would. I don't think he's a guy who, he's been good every year. His best year was his rookie year, right? But he's been good every year. I don't think he's a guy who is just say, oh, it's a contract year, I'm playing great. Now, I don't know what he's looking for in a contract, but it's going to be too much for his age.
Joseph C. said, Jose Fernandez got caught up in the Miami lifestyle. They found cocaine and alcohol in the system when he had died in the boating accident. I think he was a driver, too. Yeah, I hate to see that.
It's a shame. Don't do drugs. Don't do them.
Ryan J. says, the Jets aren't going to win 4 games this year. I think you're wrong there. I think the Jets might win at least 6.
I could see them winning 6 this year.
Drill said, we're going to find out a lot tomorrow when we get to see a little bit about whether Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended or not. We're going to be talking about that in a second. Drill said, every time the Jets come out of the tunnel, they have to play Shawn Michaels' theme song for Zach Wilson. And I'm
He's
not
just a sexy boy. He's just a boy toy.
Goon says, Grumpy, wasn't it a mistake for the TV show Chico and the Man to continue after the death of Freddie Prinze?
Absolutely it was. TJ, Chico and the Man was a TV show, the early 70s, and Freddie Prinze, I think you've heard of his son, Freddie Prinze Jr., but Freddie Prinze was a great stand-up comic, and the show was super successful. I think it was on for 2.5 years, and he committed suicide, shot himself in the head. Couldn't handle the pressure.
Oof. Joseph C. said, I know one quarterback, Zach Wilson will be better than. Oh, with a winky face.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're bringing him up too. Judge going to hit 62 home runs. He's got 49. I think so too. He's going to hit 60 home runs. Better season than Juan Soto will ever have in his career. Frank says, yeah, sad story on that kid, Joe. Yeah, for Jose. That's why I never touched blow in my life. Nothing good comes out of that shit. Yep. Jets will win 8, says Frank. John P. said Chico and the Man was on my regular watch list.
It usually, when it was on, I think it came on right after Sanford and Son on Friday nights on NBC.
Let's talk. Let's wrap up baseball real quick. Juan Soto, 3 teams that remain: the Cardinals, the Dodgers, and the Padres. Where do you think he's going, Grump?
Man, oh man. If he goes to the Dodgers, watch out. I think San Diego. Actually, St. Louis, the two GMs were talking today, and they were, who knows? He will be traded.
I'm not sure he's going to sign long-term in St. Louis. I think the Dodgers are the best spot for him. Who's going to pony up that type of money?
He's not getting traded anywhere without having a contract in place. That's not happening.
That's correct.
Yeah.
What are you looking at, Grump?
My stupid younger son unplugged the damn thing that I use for to keep my computer charged while we're doing the podcast.
Yeah, he's a dumb one, that's for certain. But yes, man, I'll tell you. You talk about that Padres team. You talk about the youth of the Padres team, Grump.
Yeah, they've traded a lot of prospects away the last couple of years to get Clevenger, to get Darvish, but they still got a lot of good prospects on that team. So
I was about to say, you've got. you talk about the bats in that lineup: Manny Machado, Fernando Tatis Jr., and Juan Soto being the 3 biggest. Wow. Man, you talk about a tough lineup to get through. 3 guys that can really, and those are just immediately off the top.
Yep.
They've got a lot of good batters in that lineup. I mean, that makes the Padres really formidable, in my opinion.
Without a doubt.
So you're thinking, now where do you think he's going to sign? Or where do you think he's going to? Where do you think he's going to be traded to? And then
I can't see him going to the Dodgers. I'm just going to.
They've got tied up already.
Yeah, I'm going to say San Diego.
I could see San Diego too, but I mean, I know that the Cardinals have been in this conversation longer than both the Dodgers and the Padres. But I think the Padres are probably the best spot for him.
I heard they're desperate. They want him really, really bad.
Hey, that means they're going to be willing to pay him a big contract too. That is going to be a tough Padres team to handle. Not with that schedule. I think that they're not going to win 5 games, says Brian J. Well, let's move that into our next topic here. Talking a little NFL, Grump. I'll tell you. Deshaun Watson, because the Jets play the Browns, I think, week 2 or week 3, early on in the season. We're going to find out tomorrow whether Deshaun Watson is going to have any disciplinary action thrown his way. If he's going to have a suspension, how long it's going to be. We're going to find out for violating league personal conduct policy, sources told ESPN. So we're going to find that out tomorrow. If the Browns don't have a guy like Deshaun Watson, I think they struggle, right? Those few games or however many games he's going to be suspended for. Let me ask you this, Grump. How long do you think a suspension for Deshaun Watson is going to be handed out? Now, how long? And then I'll have you do what do you think should happen? So what do you think will happen is the first question.
Okay. I think it's interesting that they said that NFL disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson, that's a woman, at least I believe it is.
Yes.
Is expected to issue the decision on Monday. So she's in charge of that. That means it's going to be
the one who heard the hearing. She's the one who heard the hearing.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be a big suspension because she's a woman. So,
okay, come on.
Or it could be a really short suspension because she's a woman. One of the two. I don't know which one I'm leaning for. Because the NFL doesn't release a statement or doesn't put someone in charge of an investigation. They look at every angle before they do any of that stuff. I think it's going to be, I want to say, 6 to 8 games. I'll say 6. I'll go 6. I'll go 6. And what do I think it should be? I don't think it should be anything more than 2. He's missed a whole year already. And there were no criminal cases.
Yeah, they didn't indict him or anything like that.
I feel like and here's the thing, what did he do? Okay, I'm not saying that it's something you should do, but I'm going to guarantee you like I said, when I listen to Marcus Ware talk about the female masseuses, and a lot of them are in that business working with athletes for a reason. I'm not saying these women were, because this guy was a serial abuser of the masseuse thing, whatever he
It
did.
wasn't even okay. Here's the thing. You knew what he was doing. Everybody knows
Yeah.
what he was doing.
Yeah.
He wasn't even getting people that were licensed all the way yet to give massages, etc. Still picking out people who were still in school and college age and messaging them on Instagram and stuff like that. It doesn't take much to know what he was doing. Sleazy, disgusting, you name it. It was all of those items. I will be interested to see what they do, because just like you had mentioned, they had 2 grand juries. Both did not indict him of any criminal charges. So what will that mean? Will he get a suspension? Will he not? I heard that possibly they had suggested maybe using the last year where he had sat out the whole year. Hey, he'd have to forfeit the money he'd earned in the contract from the Texans, give that money back to the Texans, and that would count as penance towards his current serve or his time he'd have to serve now. Who knows? I think he's going to get some suspension in some capacity. I'm not sure how long. I don't know, Grumpy, you said, right? Because I do believe, right, the NFL is all about optics.
Right. And I also think that NFL players, particular players of his stature, there's a sense of entitlement. And I think the fact that they're given things that normal people are not given. This would not happen if it was just a normal person, right?
Yeah.
It's the fact that a person of his stature was doing these things that he was getting a pass. And I think that's, it's unfortunate, but I just think that's just the reality situation. I think he will get some type of suspension. I would say probably 6 is probably what he's going to get. Now, if I was him and they said, pay back your $10 million from last year, and that's a write-off, I would do that. I would absolutely do that.
I was about to say, he sat out the year, right? He just wants to get back and play now. He wants to try to put this behind himself. And here's the thing. Believe it or not, this at one point in time will be put behind him. Yep. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year. Sooner or later, this will all be just swept all under the rug, and you'll forget, because the way the 15-minute news cycle works, once he served his penance and he keeps his nose clean, as long as he's not doing things of this nature, somebody else's catastrophic blunders and mistakes in the NFL will then take the center stage, and he'll be put in the background.
And as long as he produces, because let's be honest, when you think of Mike Tyson, Ben Roethlisberger, Kobe Bryant, Mike Tyson.
Okay, I just want to make sure you want to put him in that name group.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think of Mike Tyson, Ben Roethlisberger, Kobe Bryant, do you think, sex offender, or do you think athlete?
The first thing that comes to mind, you don't think sex offender. At least I do with Big Ben, because it was twice with him, right?
Yep.
Right.
Kobe Bryant sexually assaulted a girl.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone knows it. No. Never use it. He's beloved, especially because of how things had ended. He's beloved by the community.
But even then, you think of them as athletes. You don't think, because as long as you keep your nose clean after that, and Deshaun Watson will, by the way, he's been remarkably restrained. You don't see him. He's not Antonio Brown out there.
With Kobe Bryant and Ben Roethlisberger, same thing with Deshaun Watson. They're all very likable people. And, when you think of a guy like Deshaun Watson, he's another one of those guys. They've got an infectious smile. Ben Roethlisberger was that way. Same exact thing with Kobe, both infectious smiles. All of them have infectious smile, very articulate, loved by individuals. It's only a matter of time before people just forget. I always bring up the serious offense. Joe Mixon pummeling his girlfriend at the time period and breaking her jaw, Grumpy.
Right. Do anyone even think about that anymore?
That never. Not at all. People remember Ray Rice because it was the first time.
No, they remember Ray Rice. They remember Ray Rice because it was the last thing he ever did.
It was the first time that really happened, and we got to see the video. And oh my God, it was a scandal with the NFL. They were going to give him a 1-game suspension, and then the video got leaked by TMZ. And holy shit, how many of these other guys get 1-game suspensions for knocking their girlfriend or fiance or wife out cold, right, Grumpy?
Yes. Keep talking, TJ. I have to plug my computer in.
Okay, gotcha. Sounds good, Grumpy. I'll get to some more comments here. Brian J said he grew up a Mets fan. He's not going there. Book it. John P said, do you think the Mets will make a big move by the deadline? I would assume not. I think Vogelback was the move that they've got, and maybe they're going to add a reliever into the rotation, but I don't see any big splash. I'd be elated if they brought a guy like Shohei Otani in, but I'm a little reluctant to think that he's going to be on the move right now. Pull up the Jet schedule, TJ, and let me know. We did that last podcast, Brian. We did that last podcast. We kind of went through 3 of the last 4 games are against real cellar dwellers, like the Jags, the Texans, like some real bad teams. I think they could steal a game against the Browns if Deshaun Watson is serving a suspension. I think the Jets take a step forward. I think they're more competitive. I like Robert Saleh as a coach. I think, they're a better team. And I think Zach Wilson will be better this year than last year. I'm not expecting him to be like, oh, I'm now a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not expecting anything of that nature. But it's
he was much better last year after he came back from the injury that he sustained against the New England Patriots.
Injury.
Had to sit for a few games, and sometimes that's good for a younger player. And you got to let the game slow down a little bit. He was much better the second half of the year.
Frank said he got the rub and tug and cranked it up on the notch or 10. Yeah, I tell you, he was, and Alexander says Watson has a serious problem. He does. He needs to control himself. He needs to not do that type of nonsense. I mean, but again,
I don't think anyone said to him, hey, knock it off. I think maybe that's a wake-up call.
Would say knock it off. When you're Deshaun Watson, he says, I'm Deshaun Watson. I can do what I want.
But I think now, like I said, I know people who know him.
Experience. He seemed like always a nice guy. I never heard any issues with him in the past.
I know people who know him, and they say he's not, he's just a nice guy. And, he obviously had that issue, but I think he'll straighten his life out now. I really believe that.
I hope so. I always believe in second chance. It's like with Mike Vick. Once he served his time and once he paid, I rooted for Mike Vick.
I feel bad for him.
I was about to say he was an advocate trying to, and again, he just,
they made an example. They made an example out of him.
I like Mike Vick.
Yeah, me too. I mean, me too. I'm sorry. I
hate that he still gets a bad rep after the time he served behind bars, the money that the money he's done in the altruistic ventures he's tried to put forth to try to make amends for the wrongs he'd committed. Shows to me a guy that he is truly contrite and he was apologetic and he truly wanted to make amends for the mistakes he made.
I agree.
Gungun says, TJ, so you never lived in New York, right? No, I did not. And he also said, I heard the cost of living in the Carolinas is not that great anymore compared to the good old days. Facts or fiction?
It's
better than most states.
Right now with inflation, everything is up, but it's still way cheaper than it is to live in New York.
Yeah,
that much I can't.
Ridiculous. Frank also said, last 5 games, Zach Wilson threw no picks. He will do great this year. Knock on wood, says Frank.
He's one of those guys who, like Joe Burrow, some guys have that it factor. I think Zach Wilson has that it factor.
He's got it, right? If there's a guy whose personality can play in New York, right? You got to have that special personality to play in New York. He's got one of those personalities that can. You just hope the talent's there. This is what Alexander, the moment he's been waiting for. He's wanted to show this. We wanted to go ahead and pop this up yesterday. This is Tua's 65-yard bomb to Tyreek Hill.
How much air does he have to get under this ball?
We'll watch it. I've got a few things because I've watched it before, but I want you to listen to it the first time because I want you to hear the reaction of the fans. The fans, first off, are excited, Grumpy. I'll let you listen to the fans one more time, man. I'll let you share your thoughts and opinions, Grump, because I've got a few on this too.
Okay. I'm going to say
good throw.
It is a good throw. Let's give credit where credit is due. That's a nice throw. Of course, he's got a little bit of that. Yeah, I got a whoa. When you got to kind of run into it a little bit. Here's the thing. It was what? I want to say 55, 60 yards in the air? I mean, he's throwing it from that's got to be 60 yards in the air, right?
It's about 60 yards in the air.
Okay. That's a good throw. Let's give credit where credit's due.
Here's the thing I will say. What unit is the first team offense playing against?
Yeah, he had a lot of time.
Pocket is perfect. And this has always been a criticism that Alexander has had, right? The offensive line doesn't protect to it. That's a pristine pocket.
No one was
near step up, no pressure in your face. I'm just not sure how many of those situations he's going to get this year, but it was a good throw.
I just want to see how many steps he had to take.
1, 2,
3. Man,
he shuffled and he took the one step into it to really generate the power. Here's the thing. He's going to have better numbers this year. He's going to have a way better offensive core than he had last year. Again, as I've told you before, I expect did I say 4,000 passing yards or I say 3,700? Maybe I said I'm expecting 3,700 passing yards and I'm expecting at least I was expecting 34 passing touchdowns.
I will say this. I don't think that's the offense they're going to run, which is fly patterns.
Correct.
I mean, they're going to do quick, short passes, which I think he's accurate enough on those. Like I said, all I know
is the safety help over the top.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is the safety help over the top on this?
Wasn't it Tyreek Hill going out for that guy?
What do we got here in red jersey?
Ran right by. I don't know
what the hell were you doing, brother?
I don't know what to say.
I was about to say you go ahead and kick down here. Safety help over the top. Kicks down.
You got two guys running deep, and you don't go after either one of them. He goes after the short guy. Man, what a mistake.
Yeah, okay. So again, I was just wondering what type of defense this was. He got a lot of time back there. The throw looks good.
Yes.
I just want to see it. How does it look game one? How does it look week one when pressure's in your face? You're not going to have a perfect pocket. You're not going to have blown assignments like that. Tyreek Hill's speed creates mistakes. There's no doubt about that. I think Tua will be better this year. The throw looked good, right? That's a pristine spiral. I think that is about as far as he's throwing the ball, but still being able to throw the ball 60 yards downfield is good.
Yeah, let's give credit where credit is due. That's a nice throw. I've seen him throw numerous times in live games where, man, those balls just hang up because he doesn't have zip. He's not a guy who throws a ball on the line. And here's the thing. I mean, I realize you're throwing it deep, but that ball, that's another, He
drops in. I think that's a good pass. It's a good throw. There's a lot of things about this that make it a good situation for him too, but that's a nice throw.
My question isn't on those passes. My question is on the 20-yard out. Can he zip that pass in there? He hasn't shown it yet in his career. That's all. But I think Miami will be better. I mean, I think they're a borderline playoff team.
They should make the playoffs. They should squeak in as a wild card spot.
It's loaded. The AFC is loaded. The only thing is you're going to hope that the AFC West all beat one another up.
Look at this, baby. You know what's so sexy about this? Look at the offensive line. Not even freaking budging. Defensive line getting no push at all. Look at that, Grumpy. Look at that. That's what's sexy right there.
All right. Let's move on.
Yeah, Grumpy. Yeah.
Let's move along, please.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Offensive line.
Oh, man. Oh, man. He said, here we go. Listen, I think that Mike White was done dirty.
The backup for the Jets. No.
Who's that? I don't even know what the hell story is.
The backup quarterback for the Jets. He filled in when
yeah. Now I remember.
Went down.
Yeah. Didn't they go down to the third string quarterback too? Was he the third string guy?
I don't know if he was or not. He's not.
He threw him open. That was awesome. I'm not sure he threw him open. But first team defense. I hope that's not your first team defense. Your safety help. Who the hell is the safety that's supposed to be the all-pro safety?
I don't know. That defensive back looked like Swiss cheese back there. No pressure. None.
White cooled off. Mike White. He played the number one defense in his only bad game, and then got benched. Tua is trash, says Brian J. Alexander says, I was lied to. I was told Tua can't throw the deep ball. Let's see how it looks.
To me, it was a glorified 7-on-7, right?
That's what it looked like to me, right? They're wearing the red jerseys. They always say don't touch the quarterback. Yeah. There wasn't much a pass rush move from the defensive lineman, right? It looked like just pop. create the line. This is done and designed for the offense.
I think I think the Dolphins line will be better this year. And I think Tua will be better this year just because that they have a different system. And you got to remember, what do they do in San Francisco? That's going to be the offense they run in Miami. It's not going to be bombs away. It's not, Darryl Lamonica, the mad bomber in Oakland back in the 1960s and 70s. It's not going to be that. They're going to show short little passes, crossing routes, get the ball in their hands, and let those wide receivers do their job yards after catch. And that's what they should do. And I think he's going to benefit.
Play to your strengths. Absolutely. I still don't think they can rely and say, hey, we're expecting 4 to 5 seconds back there in the pocket, just like with Pat Mahomes, right? He's getting 4 or 5 seconds. I mean, those Chiefs offensive linemen are habitual holders, but I mean, like, he gets a good solid 4 or 5 seconds back there every single time he drops back.
Yep.
And that's why he's able to have these longer developing routes, and it plays into his ability just to chuck that ball downfield with the speed of those Chiefs wide receivers. I don't think the offensive line's good enough, and I don't think his arm's good enough to say, hey, every single down I'm expecting pinpoint accuracy on 65, 70-yard passes. Or a guy like Mahomes, you can rely upon that. But hey, maybe he's done a lot of work. Maybe he's really worked on arm strength this offseason. I'm not sure. Frank says Jets probably felt like they had to give the veteran had to give the job to a vet quarterback. I'm sure he cried a lot about it. Talking about Mike White. Do it in a game, says Brian J. Yeah, that's true. He was third string, Frank said about that Mike White guy. I thought he was third string. And that was Javon Holland. And did you see Josh Allen get into it with Jordan Phillips? Yes, we do have that. That's another film we wanted to show. Man, you gotta love some of the intensity of a little practice, Grumpy. A little bit. It just looks like they're just running shells. They're just running a little half line, or they're running full line. They're just doing like situational based items.
You're getting into fights in shells. Watch out. Watch out for Buffalo this year. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, here's the thing. This shit happens all the time. I'll tell you one thing. It's when a quarterback starts mouthing off a little bit like that, the defense was going to get back in his face, and the offense better damn well come to his defense. It's as simple as that. Doesn't matter who's in the right, who's in the wrong. If a player on your side, player wearing a blue or the white, whatever color jersey you're wearing, gets into a spat, you immediately start fighting the other guy. Just how it is. Just how it works. I don't know why he got so pissy. He pushes him like that.
You forget how big a boy Josh Allen is. Whoa, jumping on a pile.
You got to do that.
Watch out for
I'm not too worried about it. Here's the other thing, too. You can't hit the QB, but don't be coming running down over here. You're going to get bumped off a little bit. Get over yourself. And this just happens. I mean, practice will have heightened intensity. It's their first time really hitting like that, I guess. So I guess this wasn't the first day, like I said earlier on in the show, that they can hit, but still, they're not really hitting each other. Even on the line play, they're not even really pushing that hard. I mean, like it's just like
what I like. You know what I like? Guys coming off the sideline, the offensive guys coming off the sideline. You ain't touching my quarterback.
Do you like the corner who comes jumping in? Oh, or is that the wide out? Whoever that is, jumping in on
they're wide receivers. They're guys off the bench.
Oh, those are, I don't know who the hell those guys are. The wide outs, though, for certain. I mean,
Buffalo's going to be good.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. They're good.
Let's go Buffalo. I'm rooting for Buffalo, unless they pay the incredible Tom Brady. That's my Super Bowl pick, by the way. I'm telling you right now.
Who the hell is this guy in the red shirt? The only coach that comes, and this guy can't. I don't know if he's a coach.
His name is TJ. Nothing to see here. What do you think
about
the
hell is he coming running out of nowhere? The boys are going to sort the shit out. Come on.
Look at him jumping on. Multiple guys.
Captain Red Coach. Come on, guys.
Hey.
Here's the situation. Back on the sideline. What do
you think about those silly little helmet things they have on top of the regular helmets?
It's because they're not hitting yet. They're still not hitting. This is just like, hey, we're going half speed.
Well, then why are they wearing something over the top of their helmet?
I don't think they're allowed to have actual contact helmet to helmet right now. So that's what they're doing. I think Monday's the first day they can actually have contact helmet to helmet. Okay. I think when they put that little gel thing over the top of the helmet, it's not considered them having full contact.
Okay.
I think.
Nice way to skirt that issue.
Skirt that back into the initial comment.
Yeah, there you go. Today. Yeah, we're the NFL. We care about player safety. Lying bastards. They could care less. They could care less if those guys die on the field.
They don't like that.
Oh, I think they would absolutely love that if it was a
No,
shitty team
stop. They
and it
wouldn't
gets some bigger TV ratings. Hey, the Gladiator days. You're going to see somebody die out there today.
Oh,
Tune in.
you're being facetious.
Yeah, I know I am. But they don't care. They don't care about the players. We know that.
John P. said training camp videos make for good entertainment, but game time, it isn't ever.
Thank you, John. There's John. We love John. Glad you're back, John. We've missed you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to say, I think that his arm, I like the arm strength. I like the throw. He didn't throw off his back foot, stepped into it, was able, had a good pocket. But realistically, how often are you going to have a clean pocket like that with 4 seconds to throw the ball and the safety who comes downfield for whatever reason, and you've got one-on-one with the corner against Tyreek Hill? That doesn't happen often.
The only reason that he wasn't throwing off his back foot is because he had absolutely no pressure on him at all.
Yeah. I think, again, I want to see that week one. Hey, if I see that week one, Alexander, you'll hear me first saying, I'm impressed with Tua. He looks much more calm back there. He looks fantastic. But even when he was in Alabama, right, they had fantastic pockets, best offensive line in the nation, unbelievable wide receiver core. You're going to put up great numbers. You're going to look great because you got the best situation out there around.
True.
Drew L said, also, TJ, going to keep pestering you. I worked like an hour on this video. Hold on a second. He's got a video for us. I got to look that up. Give me a sec. Give me a second. James S. said, I wish I was 29. Frank says, me too. Buffalo could win it all. Easy, Grump.
I don't know if easy, but I think they're, to me, they're the favorites to come out of the American Conference. I think this is their year. They just better hope they don't play Brady because I think Brady's only lost 3 times out of 40 games to them. He's like their kryptonite.
Hold on a second. I just got the video. Let me pull it up here.
Oh my God. Alexander just put a comment up right after that. I saw it.
You claim you don't read the comments.
I don't read them. I just happen to glance over at them.
I know it's always bullshit. You always read them too. And then, we're gonna rock on down Electric Avenue. Da, 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 da. Take it higher or something like that. There it is. Take it higher there, Grumpy. We get the little yes there. Gotta love that there. I think we're better than Buffalo.
Alexander, no, you're not.
I'm not sure, Alexander. Now, Grumpy, did you want to see what I was showing?
We love you, Alexander, but no. Sorry.
Did you see what I was showing on screen? Just making sure you did, Grumpy.
Yeah. Yes. I saw that.
Gotcha.
And you got that. It's you messed up the song, and I think I actually said how you messed it up. It doesn't matter. Thank you, Drew.
Alexander, I think we're better than Buffalo. I don't know, man. Buffalo's good. And Buffalo just signed back. They just signed Von Miller, didn't they? Yes.
Yeah, yes, not signed him back.
They signed him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They just signed Von Miller.
Yeah, they made a couple of nice little moves. I still wish they had a better running back.
The wide receiver core is not great.
Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis.
Gabriel Davis is. I'm just saying, right? You look at some teams where you say, okay, Buffalo, I'm not putting Buffalo's receiving core in the top 10 in the NFL. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying it's like, okay, you talk about points of weakness. The wide receiver core could be improved for Buffalo. The running back, a really freaking steadfast running back would be nice for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Drafted running backs. They wanted Singletary to be the guy. They wanted Zach Moss to be the guy. They still don't have the running back.
Gabriel Davis is going to step up, I feel. And I think Isaiah McKenzie is going to show out this year as a slot guy.
Okay.
They're waiting for they let Cole Beasley go, and Jamison Crowder's not in camp, but the McKenzie kid so far has been looking good. I think they're good. I think they're a really well put together team. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to have all-stars at every level to be a Super Bowl winner,
Brian J says Miami is not even close, even with Buffalo. I think Miami's taken a lot of steps in the right direction.
They're going to be second. I think they'll be second in division.
I think so too. I think they're better than the Patriots. I think Miami will be in a playoff spot. That's correct. Tua has no excuses this year. Yes, I agree with that. He should put up great numbers. He should step in and say, I'm the guy. Alexander said it's to protect him. against head trauma.
The funky little things. Yeah.
A little fluffy thing on their head.
The fluffy thing. There you go. Yeah.
Alexander says he's going to hold me to it. If week 1 he comes out and he's wheeling and dealing.
Who do they play in the first game of the year?
It better not be Houston or some miserable team like that. Oh man,
That's one of the dregs of the league.
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
The Patriots. Okay, I'm not worried about that. I have a feeling the Patriots will find a way to cause trouble. The Patriots, I don't think, are resoundingly fantastic with the talent on their team, but they just find ways to create trouble for the teams they play against, minus the Bills.
I'm going to say that the Patriots have the better quarterback in that matchup.
Holy shit! Well, that's at least what. Who are the two wideouts? That's at least what Devontae Smith and
Devontae Parker.
Was that
Devontae Parker?
Oh, now they got Devontae Parker there too. Yeah. Well, no, I was talking. Devontae Smith said they liked Mac Jones better than they liked.
Every Alabama wide receiver said that.
I was giving him a hard time because that's what always came up.
Yeah.
Drew L said, "Grumpy, let's be honest here. It's so much better to live in North Carolina than New York.
It is. It's much better."
John P said, "Just came back from 2+ weeks in my beloved Long Island, working with Sharks. Long Island story. And getting my knee scoped on Wednesday at Texas Tech, then back to work next Tuesday."
John, a man after my own heart, back to work on Tuesday.
Shit, you're not going to work, Grumpy. You're not a man after your own heart. John's still working. He's hard at the work, Grumpy. You're over here just...
I'm just saying how busy he is. That's all.
Yeah, Grumpy, you're not busy outside of this podcast. Stop.
You don't know what I do here.
I do know what you do.
You have no idea.
The Patriots are better than Miami. Ooh, I'm not sure I'd go there. I think the head coaching goes in favor of Bill Belichick than it does Mike McDaniel.
He's on the way down too.
I think he is on the way down, but I still think he's a better coach than Mike McDaniel, wouldn't you?
Head coach, yeah. Even at 70 years old.
Alexander said, outside of Von Miller, who else they got? Von Miller was their team was a really solid team, and they added a guy like Von Miller, who's one of those outstanding outside linebackers. It's not like they needed a lot more.
Sean McDermott lost in the Super Bowl last year.
Or lost them a chance at the Super Bowl.
He lost in the Super Bowl. You
can't just say that they were going to walk over the Rams.
I think they would have absolutely beaten Cincinnati, and I think they would have walked over the Rams. Yes.
You mean Kansas City? Oh, yeah, they lost to Kansas. They had to beat Kansas City. They had to beat Cincinnati. Okay, that's right.
You cannot give up a field goal with 12 seconds left and them starting at whatever it was. You can't let that happen.
Oh, man, we did that game live. Yikes, that was bad.
That's on the coach.
My gosh. John P.
Josh Allen's the freaking man. I'm sorry. And you heard it. You heard it here first.
You were always a Josh Allen fan before.
Always. From the minute I saw him, I'm like, that kid is going to be sensational.
I like the fact that he had a freaking cannon for an arm.
Cannon.
That doesn't mean shit.
Cannon. He could do everything. Everything. He just had to, just like Trey Lance, he just has to get up to speed. What didn't happen right away. And guess what? It's not going to happen right away for Trey Lance either.
Okay. Here's the other thing, though. Josh Allen was immediately the starting QB in Buffalo. His first year as a starting QB, I think. Grump, wasn't
he? Yeah. I think he split a little bit of time with somebody else. I don't remember. But here's the thing. Oh my goodness, look at this.
I was about to say, you're not going to see me catching. You're not going to catch me reaching my hands into there like in that water, touching that shark.
I watched Jaws this week. You know what? Still a great movie. And I know I like Jaws too. It's a guilty pleasure movie. Is it as good as the first one? No, but I remember that one like it was yesterday, seeing it in the theater. And I was like, oh my God, I jumped 2 or 3 times. It's like, Chief, what the hell are you doing? He's trying to bring the shark to him. That was funny. Good movie. Good movie. Guilty pleasure movie for certain.
Good gracious. Absolutely. Jaws. And 2 is 3-0 versus the Patriots, and we swept them last year. Yeah, I've heard that Mac Jones looks a lot better. Can't say I've watched anything Mac Jones wise, but I heard he's better. You know, you would expect Mac Jones to be I think he's always been a guy he'll be a really good game manager. That's kind of what he projects to be.
Here's the thing. Miami's newfound strength really matches up well with the Patriots' weakness. Their wide receiver group is I think, well, like I said, it's all about the quarterback. But for me, it's a mismatch. The wide receiver group for Miami against the New England defensive backfield. Total mismatch.
If you're able to scheme and get pressure on Tua, though, how does that affect things?
Well, that's why you got to get rid of the ball quick. Run those quick little.
It's week 1, too. Week 1's always some weird stuff. You're going to have first-time head coach Mike McDaniel.
You know, he's chomping at the bit for this one, don't you?
Oh, for certain.
Yeah. They circled that on the calendar a long time ago.
He's going against the greatest head coach of all time, facing off against the greatest head coach that's ever laced him up.
Mhm.
Frank also saying, not when you're talking about pizza, Drew, talking about New York versus North Carolina.
True.
I make expert pizzas and eat them too, LOL. Hey, Grump, any good pizza by you?
No. They had a couple of nice places. They had a couple places that were good down here, but
Rotelli's is always good. Are they still in business?
Yeah, they're out. They're gone. They're long.
Really?
Gone. Yeah, they're gone.
No. Brian J said, I don't know who's worse, Daniel Jones or Tua. They're both garbage. Daniel Jones is worse than Tua.
It's Daniel Jones. He's terrible.
I'd rather take
now. How would Tua look for the Giants though? Probably pretty shitty. Pretty shitty.
Yeah, he'd look bad.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure what he's going to look like. Yeah, they are both bottom tier quarterback. I think Tua is more. He could be an average QB. Daniel Jones is like bottom 10 in the league, if not worse. There's some really bad QBs in the league. Daniel Jones he's right there with them.
They did one of these little polls on the tiers of the quarterbacks, and I think Tua was like, why would I want to say like number 23?
Okay.
Daniel Jones was like 28, 29.
He's bad. Alexander said Josh Allen was nothing before Stephon Diggs came.
Oh, please. This kid's phenomenal.
He's good.
He can do everything. Everything. He's like playing street ball and the biggest kid on there and just does whatever he wants. That's what he's like.
I do not like when quarterbacks like to run the ball because their careers are finite when you go out there and you start taking hits. Yeah. Throw the freaking ball, sit in the pocket, and don't take a beating.
Yeah. And he's done that much more the last couple of years.
It's not Mac Jones, it's Whack Jones. I don't know. Yeah, Mac Jones is like a Jimmy G game manager. Yeah, he's a game manager. And I think his ceiling, right? He was a guy who had a very low ceiling, but a very high floor. I think maybe he looks better. All I understand is, at least from last year, he had to teach, I think early on in the year, he had to teach Cam Newton the playbook after Cam Newton was with the Patriots for like a year or something like that. The rookie's teaching you the playbook.
That tells you all you need to know about Cam Newton, right?
Are you going to see, right? Can Mac Jones really bust his ass to be a guy who, irons himself out a career in the NFL? A consistent, maybe he's a starter. You know what I mean? He's not a guy who's an elite. I know he made the Pro Bowl last year. He's not a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. Not yet. Ugh.
He's totally redone his body this offseason. So he's absolutely putting the work in, and he's always – somebody even said he could be an offensive coordinator in the league now. He's smart, right? I don't know if his arm is strong enough to throw the ball in the winter in New England. That's where Brady underrated, honestly. He came in the league just average arms, what they were saying, but he could throw the ball in New England in December. I mean, those are tough games. They really are. And can Mac Jones do that? It still hasn't proven. I mean, that'll be this year. Maybe we see it. I don't know.
Okay, hold on a second. We've got a little picture of Mac Jones. We're going to pop up on screen. I think he looks like he's put the work in. That doughy boy that had the little tire iron around his stomach is gone. You know what I mean? He's put the work in, and it looks like he's lost weight. He's got himself in shape. He doesn't have that little spare tire hanging out around his stomach. So, again, he looks in good shape right now. Let's see how
he looked like he had a dad bod last year.
He did. In college, he looked like he had a dad bod because of too many beers. So, looks like maybe he put down the beer bottle this summer.
Look at his face. I look at his face.
He lost a lot of weight in his face, it looks like, too. He looks more of like an adult.
Yeah.
A kid.
Doesn't know how to pose, but okay.
Oh, man. I hope he,
I think he's gonna pan out for them. I do.
You think, what does he have, Brady vibes written on him? A guy maybe who wasn't fantastic when he entered the league, busts his ass hard, and he can make himself into a good QB. Of course, not at Brady's level, but I'm just saying a guy who could pan, and really the work ethic is what makes him and separates him from others.
You're right. Don't mention him in the same breath as Brady. He won't. And here's the thing: he was a first-round draft pick, not a sixth-round draft pick.
Okay. Don't get
That
hung
said,
up. I'm not
I think
talent-wise.
I think he can be a very successful NFL quarterback.
You know how Brady was a guy where his work ethic was what made him into a fantastic QB is, and his will to want to be successful.
Yeah, no, he's not that. There's so few athletes like that. So few. I think the kid is absolutely put the work in. But Brady's maniacal. Even at this stage at 45 years old, he outworks everybody. That's not Mac Jones. That's not anybody in the NFL. No one.
Is it weird that I have this feeling that he's going to have a season-ending injury this year early on? Knock on wood.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you why I think that, but just when I look at him, some guys have season-ending injuries like every single time. There's so many quarterbacks each year that have a season-ending injury. I could see him tearing an ACL or something crazy like that. I'm not wishing that on him. I'm just saying when you look at a guy like that, I feel like sometimes when so many guys put in so much hard work and effort, there's always one or two guys who put the work and effort in and something happens out of their control that impedes them from being able to showcase the work they put in. Every year there's some guys like that. I hope it's not the case, but there's always injuries.
Okay. I'm not even commenting on that.
Okay. Fair enough. I
sent you something today on
it says Miami secondary lines up better than New England's wide receivers. I don't think New England's receivers core is that great.
Well, I think Parker's looked good so far in camp. I just think Miami's a better team than New England, though. I just do. But
you're going to tell me something you sent me, Grump.
Yeah, I sent you something about the women's Euro 22 championships today. Are you going to show that or no?
No, I couldn't even tell you. Okay, here's the thing. Remember, if we show anything from European soccer, they immediately take it down. They shut our stream down midstream. So, okay. No, I can't show you anything from men's or women's soccer.
Can I just comment on it then?
Why don't you tell me what happened? Because I didn't watch the game. I started in my European football chats. People were like, they brought football back. And I'm hold on. Men's Euros were last summer.
It was the women's. Women's Euros.
Women's Euros were on. So, yes, tell me about it. I didn't watch the game today.
And as people know, I'm usually pretty hard on women's athletics. I consider them friends and family league, not fun to watch. There was a kick today that a goal scored by England, and it was a really nice goal. It was from distance, and the girl floated over the top of the goalie who came out. It was really a nice scored goal. And I said, gosh, you know what? Let me give this another chance. I put it on, and I'm like, ugh. No. And there were a lot of people there, but I'm like, no. I watched it, and all I could think was, I could think of a fifth level Russian team would absolutely kick the crap out of either one of these two teams who are in the championship game. I'm sorry, they're just slow. For the goaltenders are short. They can't kick. They suck. I'm sorry.
Why were you bringing this up to me? I said we couldn't show the clip. Why were you bringing this up, Grumpy? Just because
I wanted to tell you, I was ready to say that, you know what? I'm going to.
I was wrong about women's athletics. Yes. I'm going to give this a chance, and
I watched it. I gave another chance, and nope, they put me right back to where I was.
They further re-entrenched your stance, huh?
High school team, I'm not saying bad high school teams. A good high school team would kick the living shit out of any of those professional women teams.
Well, you know, the Australian, that's what always the meme is. The Australian women's team was like ranked 5th by rankings, and they lost to like a high school men's JV team or something like that, 7-0.
Like I said, I can't. It's just so bad. They're so slow. I'm like, they're so slow. I can't imagine it. I could not imagine them being any men's squad. Not one. Like 5th level of the English league. Like, so what is that? Like 40 teams deep, 50 teams deep, 70 teams deep? I don't know.
Okay, so this is always the meme. The Australian women's national team lose 7. Oh God almighty, these ads. Lose 7-0 to 15-year-old boys team.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's hard.
So I know there's all these ads all over, but that's always the meme as that goes around. It was like in 2015. That's always what people go back to.
But I'm seriously, I wasn't going to watch the game. I was just going to say, you know what? It was a fantastic play, and it was a nice goal. It absolutely was.
I wish we could show the goal.
Yeah, me too.
But we can't.
Okay. But it was a nice goal. Of course, it was poor defensive zone coverage, but I mean, it was a nice distance kick and she floated. The goalie came out. She made a nice little, chipped it right over her head, right into the net. I'm like, holy crap, that's a really nice goal. I said, you know what? I'm going to give it another shot because you know what? I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong. Absolutely willing to admit when I'm wrong. Then I watched it and I'm like, ugh, they suck. It was hard. It was hard to watch.
Frank said, watch Mac Jones light it up. John P said, I loaded up on pizza. That's how do you pronounce that, Grump? Spumoni's Garden.
Spumoni's
Garden in New York or in Brooklyn last week. Top notch.
I tell you what, when I went up for my mom's funeral, I think I ate pizza 3 times and it was great. And there's pizza place on every corner. It's like, and not like Domino's, Papa John.
Domino's.
No, none of that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, real pizza places, I mean, like I said, I worked in a pizza place for 10 years and it was so good. I'm like, man, oh man, that's the one thing I miss. Absolutely. I miss pizza from New York without a doubt. Oh, it's great.
Yeah, and watch Shock the World. Yo, Tony, who's that? Vanua has finally arrived on the golf world. What a week. He had 2 wins in a row and $3 million at the Rocket Mortgage Classic is huge.
At the 3M and the Rocket Mortgage Classic. There's your two tournaments.
Gotcha. Brian J says the Miami coach is a question. For certain he is.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be the play caller. I know we've talked about this before. How are the plays going to look when he's also the head coach?
I mean, I think he did a good job bringing in some veterans to some veteran coaches to round out his staff. I think that was smart by him.
It's just something about being yelled and barked at by a guy who's never played the game.
Yeah.
That's just something I've never had respect. I'm like, come on, dude.
And, he weighs like 123 pounds and he's got glasses on with little tape.
Glasses that puts it over the edge for you, Grumpy?
With the tape in the middle, and he's got like a little pocket protector there with the little pencils and pens. And
man.
He does not look like an
Harvard guy. Where does he come? I knew he came from one of those Ivy League schools. Was he a Harvard guy?
I don't know. He's from San Francisco.
I think he went to Harvard, didn't he?
No idea. I don't care where he went to school.
I don't know. Alexander will tell us.
It's even worse. It's even worse if he went to Harvard.
How's it worse?
Because then he's wearing a pencil protector.
Oh man! Brian just said, "You soccer. I'd rather watch paint dry on the walls."
Wow!
And it's like saying Thomas is the best girl swimmer of all time.
Right? You put Thomas. Who's a man, right? Still got the hormones. He's not even. He won't even be allowed in the aquatic center. Just not good enough. But he's the best women's swimmer ever.
Okay. Frank says TJ butchered Fanua's name. LOL TJ. It's Finau. Sorry, I don't watch golf like that. One of the
You don't watch golf at all. Who are you kidding?
What was that?
You don't even watch golf at all.
They're all saying he's earned the players' respect, and they sit down and listen.
That's good news for Miami.
Good to hear. I was about to say. Because it's easy for a guy, if you start losing games like that, for a guy who's never played the sport, for them to say, what the hell does this guy know? He's never fucking suited up.
Let me tell you,
better hope they come off firing off the bat.
This is for Alexander. My brother is a huge Dolphins fan, so I'm naturally predisposed to hate them. But I like you so much that I don't hate them. I actually hope they do okay, just for you. Because normally I'm like, no, Dolphins suck.
I want to end this on, I think, a funny little segment that I know you and I will not probably agree on. So this will be a fun one. Now, we've got 8 coaches here to select from. They want you in this experiment to select the top 5 coaches, top 5 college coaches, grumpy old man.
They're all pretty good.
We've got Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney, Kirby Smart, Ryan Day, Lincoln Riley, Jimbo Fisher, Jim Harbaugh, and Luke Fickell. Who do you have in your top 5, Grump?
Luke Fickell, no. He coaches at Cincinnati, right?
Yes, he does coach at Cincinnati.
Who the other? Oh, that's out of this 8 right here?
Yes, sir. It's 8. You pick 5 of the 8.
Okay.
I assume, right, we can all unanimously agree Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney, Kirby Smart are all in that top 5.
Yep. I'm going to go Lincoln Riley
Shit.
and Ryan Day.
I'm going Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh.
Okay.
Lincoln Riley's like 7 or 8 on this list for me.
Not me.
When has he ever won?
He's been to how many of the Final Four games? He's been to like 3 or 4 of those.
When has he ever won?
What's Jim Harbaugh ever won? What's Jimbo Fisher ever won? What's Luke Fickell ever won? What's Ryan Day ever won?
List. Jimbo Fisher I didn't put on the list. Jimbo Fisher I have it.
What's Ryan Day ever won? Nothing. What's Jim Harbaugh ever won?
When you win a Big Ten, it's much more impressive than winning the Big fucking 12.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's Jim Harbaugh ever won?
Conference in the Big 12.
You were the guy who was saying that Jim Harbaugh should be fired last year. Now you got him as one of the top 5 college coaches in the NCAA.
No, I didn't say he should have been fired last year.
You absolutely said he should have been fired.
I said if he doesn't have production this year,
you said if he lost to Ohio. No. You said if he lost to Ohio State last year, he should be fired because he can't beat Ohio State.
I wonder if they pose the question, they fire him. I've seen coaches fired for less. But guess what? He beat Ohio State. And then he won himself a Big Ten. Winning a Big Ten is much more impressive than winning a freaking Big 12. A Big 12, you talk about the Friends and Family League. The Big 12 is the 4th best conference. Again, you look at the way the conferences are done. SEC's at the top. Big Ten's number 2. ACC's number 3. Number 4, and I mean, is way low of a drop off of the ACC, is the freaking Big 12. And then it's the Pac 12 way underneath.
Okay. The Big 12 is better than the ACC. ACC is
they're
a one-team conference. One-team conference.
How many freaking Big 12 teams? How many Big 12 teams have won a national championship in the last 20 years? I'll give it the last 20 years. How about that?
Oklahoma's won.
How many times?
Oklahoma's won in the last 20 years. Thank you.
How many?
I don't know, but I know they've won in the last 20 years. And Lincoln Riley's a damn good coach. You underrate him. Absolutely you do. Okay. And here's the thing. He's going to light it up on the sideline. USC's probably going to win conference this year. You watch.
Clemson's won 2.
Clemson. Like I said, the ACC, Clemson, that's Clemson and everybody else.
Oklahoma hasn't won in the last 20 years, bro.
They won in 2003. They absolutely won in 2003. They did. Bob Stoops was the coach. They won in 2003.
I thought LSU beat them. It's got LSU was the BCS champion that year. Oklahoma won in 2000. They lost in 2003.
Okay, but they're in the Final Four every year, except for last year. They're in the Final Four every year.
Miami won in 2001. Florida State won in 1999. So even if we go take the clock back since 1999. The ACC's got what? 4 different national championships. Big 12's got 1.
Just tell me these guys. I don't care about ancient history. I'm talking about these guys. Lincoln Riley has had a better college coaching career than right now than everybody, I would say, except for Sweeney and Saban.
Really? You think Lincoln Riley's more successful than Kirby Smart?
That's right. Kirby Smart before this year has won nothing. They lost every single year.
How many freaking times? Okay, Kirby Smart has actually won before college football final games. Lincoln Riley's never fucking won a college football final game ever before in his life.
Just won this year. He'd never won one before this year.
No, they had lost to Alabama in the championship game a few years ago too, when Tua Tagovailoa threw for the touchdown pass and had to replace Jalen Hurts. No, Georgia lost then too. They won. I think Kirby Smart was the coach then too.
They've won one. He's won 1 championship.
How many games in the college football playoffs has Lincoln Riley won with his amazing ability to get there?
No idea.
Guess what? He loses at least 1 game every year. And because the Big 12 used to have some freaking rep to it, because he lost 1 game, he'd get the automatic bid on the way in. Oh, here you go. Welcome. Hey, come on in, Lincoln Riley. And he gets you fucking steamrolled every single time.
Lincoln Riley's absolutely one of the top 5 coaches in college.
He's awful. He's a great recruiter. He's a miserable game adjustment coach.
I changed my mind.
Making adjustments.
I'm putting him at number 2. Nick Saban, then Lincoln Riley.
Oh man, I tell you,
you're going to see. You're going to watch. Just watch.
Remember how I talked about James Franklin? Remember how I
Just
talked about
watch.
him? He's a great recruiter, a freaking
watch.
miserable game coach. It's the same thing with Lincoln Riley.
Just watch. You heard it here first. Lincoln Riley is going to take his coaching to another level being out at USC. Not Oklahoma. You're going to see he's going to get everybody. He's going to get every prospect he wants. Lincoln Riley. And here's the thing. Remember I said 2 years
in Oklahoma.
Do you remember what I said as soon as he got hired by USC, who's been on the downside? I said within 2 years, he's going to be contending for the final 4 teams. This year, he's going to be contending for the final 4 teams. You watch. But I stand by 2 years. 2 years. You watch. 2 years.
Here's the thing. I'll tell it to you easy and flat. He always brings in unbelievable recruiting classes. He fucking sucks as a coach. He is not a good coach. He's a fantastic, phenomenal recruiter.
We'll see.
You know how there's some coaches that do a shitty job recruiting but do a great job with on-the-field results? He's the opposite. Does a great job of selling the pitch. I've talked to multiple of his recruits that have left and transferred out of the school. Again, all didn't like him very much. And it's kind of funny how that type of sour. It's all top-tier recruits as well.
Okay.
That's exactly what.
Can I ask you a question? What's the most important position in
quarterback?
Quarterback. What do you think the quarterbacks who played for Lincoln Riley would say about him?
Couldn't tell you.
They've all won freaking Heisman trophies. You know what they're saying? This guy is God. That's what he is.
Oh, they're saying this guy
is a coaching God.
What do you think? What do you think? How do you think their success has translated to the NFL? Huh? Let's go
Really
down
good.
that one, huh?
Really
how
good.
is it? How is that success translated? How has Jalen Hurts been looking in the NFL? Oh,
really good.
How has Baker Mayfield been looking in the NFL?
You remember
Jalen? How is
Jalen Hurts?
How is my arm can't last a full season looking in the NFL?
Jalen Hurts couldn't complete a pass when he was at Alabama.
Oh, stop!
He turns him in to a guy who's a runner-up for a Heisman Trophy and is a starting quarterback in the NFL. He takes 3 other guys in a row and turns them into the number 1 draft pick and Heisman Trophy winners.
There's a reason why every single one of those quarterbacks flop in the NFL.
Yeah, right. That's right, because they don't have Lincoln Riley anymore. They don't have Lincoln Riley anymore. That's the reason.
Kyler Murray's the only one that has a chance to be successful, but his frail nature and his arm injury is going to be the thing that stops him from being a successful quarterback long-term in the NFL. Baker Mayfield blows, and so does Jalen Hurts. Every single one of those quarterbacks put up big numbers because they play in the fucking Big 12. They're playing in the Pac-12, which also sucks. But here's the thing. You will see the numbers of passing yards go dropping down for every quarterback. And he might have a more talented quarterback than what he had with the Baker Mayfield,
he's going to be playing in the Big 10. He's going to be playing in the Big 10.
Okay, that's not until 2024.
Well, you know what? By then, he'll probably have a national championship under his belt.
Oh, that's funny shit, man. That's funny.
He's good. I think you underestimate him. Saban's the best, though. Saban's the best.
Okay. Hold on a second. Sides had settlement talks. The Watson camp offered 6 to 8 games of a suspension. The NFL 12 games with a significant fine.
Woo.
So, holy shit, that just happened. I thought it was supposed to be announced on Monday.
Wow.
Well, the Browns, typical Browns fashion, baby.
Cleveland.
Sign that huge freaking Cleveland.
Jacoby Brissett. Meet Jacoby Brissett. Your starting quarterback. That's astounding to me.
God, I love Cleveland.
See, to me, really unfair. That's really unfair because they made him sit out all of last year. Sorry. That's just
I'm going to try to pull that up here.
Fine. Why would he pay it? Why would he pay a fine? For what? Guess what? When he's not playing, that is a fine. And he's not getting paid, that is a fine.
Okay, the NFLPA released a statement regarding Deshaun Watson's hearing, stating that they will accept the arbiter Sue Robinson's decision on Monday. Oh. They also call on the NFL to do the same, to essentially avoid an appeal. Oh. Wow.
I tell you what, just play the games. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't.
That is from the NFLPA. I'm trying to find because I just got the update on my phone. Yeah. Okay, here it is. Yeah, this is from Dan Graziano. Okay, gotcha. They just wrote the article, but he tweeted this 2 hours ago. So at the start of the show, per sources, Deshaun Watson, the NFL did engage in further settlement talks in the recent days, but neither side felt they got close. The Watson side indicated they'd be willing to accept is 6 to 8 games. The best, the league indicated they're willing to accept is 12 games plus an $8 million fine.
I'm going to tell you what, that is so patently unfair. I can't even tell you. Daniel Snyder, for the shit that he's done, he should lose his team, or he should be fined $108 million for the shit he did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because they can punish the players. I'm sorry. It's just wrong. I'm sorry.
So the Browns, I think, might struggle to make the playoffs this next year. I'm going out on a limb.
The Browns will not make the playoffs, and that's an easy win for the Jets in week 2.
So you think the Jets are pulling off that win against the Browns then, huh?
Sure. Who they play in the first week? Is it Pittsburgh? No, it's Baltimore. It's the Ravens in the first week.
Okay. Alexander says, they've been saying that he's okay. Gotcha. Andrew L says, do you guys think the Braves take first place by the end of the season? Big 5-game set versus the Mets this week.
No.
I don't either. I think with DeGrom back, that really just helps out the pitching.
The Mets got over their little slump. And and here's the thing, they weren't really slumping. They just weren't playing at the level they were. And Atlanta was hot as a firecracker. Now Atlanta's kind of cooled off a little bit. The Mets have picked it up, and DeGrom's back. Scherzer's back.
Brian J said, who cares about the Dolphins? They're one of the bottom cellar dwellers in the NFL. And the Alexander said, that's a funny way to spell Jets. Anyway, and he says, thank you, Grumpy. Alexander says, the Braves are on fire for certainly they are. I mean, they're playing well. And Jill also said, fuck Jim Harbaugh. Go Green Bay. Ooh. Yeah. Definitely not the Dolphins. They've got back-to-back winning seasons.
They have a shot to make the playoffs this year. They do.
Oh man, it's getting always fun anytime you see that. You start throwing the Super Bowls out. Notre Dame all day. We've got the best recruiting class in 2023. I don't know. Notre Dame's. Brian Kelly was a guy who always thought could get you close, but never could get you over the hump.
Is he still there, Brian Kelly?
No, he's at LSU now. Don't you remember?
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Accent.
That's right. The fake Southern accent. Yeah, I forgot. It was a while
2 days. Born and raised in, what was it? Born and raised in Massachusetts or something like that. And coach in South Bend, Indiana, has a Southern accent.
He talks like he's from Cajun country.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Yeah. Freaking Brian Kelly.
Who's coaching at Notre Dame now?
Oh, the defensive guy. He was an internal hire. I can't remember his name.
Okay. Good luck.
I'll pull it up. Alexander says, watch out for the University of Miami this year. I feel like we say that every year. Miami never does it.
No, we don't say that. Alexander says
that. Well, no, fans do. Here's the thing. Mario Cristobal, I think, is a great recruiter. Okay, as a coach. I think he's a way better recruiter than Miami's had in recent years. I like him as a hire there in Miami. He's gonna be good for that team.
All I know is USC is must-watch TV this year.
You know what? I'm going to be watching USC, but rooting for them to lose every fucking game they're out there on the field.
Woohoo!
Every game, every time they lose to, I'll be like, hey, how about those Trojans? Lincoln Riley. Yeah.
They got some level 3 wide receiver from the ACC, I think, this year.
Yeah, Blitnikoff winner, Jordan Addison. That's right.
Whoop-de-doo.
Wouldn't it just be terrible if he has a miserable year this year? Wouldn't that be terrible, Grumpy?
It probably because they got more talent out there than him.
Yeah, that's it.
He played in the ACC. That, see you later conference.
Yeah, we played against the ACC.
It's a basketball conference is what it is.
Mr. B says, Ranger fan, Boomer, golfing in Nova Scotia with Clutterbuck. Likely his son-in-law, Martin, as well.
Talking about Boomer Esiason.
Yep. Brian J says, USC sucks. That's right. John P says, sources. Yep. Sources. We talked about that too. Deebo Samuel, that big 3-year extension, $73.5 million per comments. I think it's good for Deebo. He's got paid, and I think it's good for the 49ers. And right, he'll play a little bit of running back, I figure now too.
What was it? 58 plus is guarantee. Pretty good.
Yeah. Andrew said, "What does a college coach have to do with the player's success in the NFL?"
Nothing.
College coaches. If you're helping mature with a quarterback, you should obviously go ahead and make sure he's able to make a seamless transition to the NFL.
Nothing. The answer is nothing.
What? Okay, let me ask you this.
Nothing.
Let me ask you this: how many quarterbacks in the Big 12 pan out when they get to the NFL? I'm saying they don't because they play in a pass-happy league that just has an air raid offensive mentality and just throwing the ball all over the place. For every quarterback you can name me from the Big 12 that's been successful, I can name you 15, or I can name you 5 or 6 that have failed miserably with high expectations, because every single one of those teams just launch the ball over and over and over again, and they have inflated passing stats and they have inflated numbers. So I don't really put that too much in the onus of, the coach is the quarterback whisperer. No, they play in a league that has zero freaking defense, and all they do is throw the ball.
Nothing. What college coach has to do with success of players in the NHL? Absolutely nothing.
In the NFL,
Nothing.
their job is to make sure they can make that seamless transition.
Nothing.
I think
nothing.
They've got responsibility for
Nothing. They run totally different offenses in the NFL than they do in college.
A fly pattern is a fly pattern, and out's an out. And being able to make sure you hit your guy in stride and make sure you could step into the pocket and feel comfortable when the pocket collapses, that's on a fucking coach. That's on a player. That helps you and allows you to translate to the next level.
Nothing. Next.
Alexander says here, so Watson, only 12 games, yet Ridley gets... Hold on. Not only 12 games out. He sat out all of last year.
17.
That's 29 games. He didn't play at all last year because of this. Right. And now they're going to give him a 12-game suspension over that too. It's like a 2-year suspension.
Yeah.
Alexander said, don't forget about the fan fights. Alexander, we're 2 hours and 30 minutes in. We probably won't be getting to the fan fights. Sorry. Andrew L. said here, so that's the coach's fault. I think he should better prepare him for the NFL game. I guess you can't control what conference you're in, but now he is, right? He's at the Pac-12. I mean, there's Pac-12.
He's going to be in the Big Ten. He's going to be in the Big Ten. They signed with the Big Ten. They're with the Big Ten.
Carson Palmer, that's it, talking about the Pac-12.
Yeah, he was good. Really good.
He was. Alexander said, no, I'm sorry. Nothing to be sorry about. No, I just want to let you know we won't be able to. I appreciate when you send it to me, but I just was like, I said, the Deshaun Watson little update took away the time I had allocated for that. Well, actually, let's pull him up here, Grump.
Yeah, because TJ likes to punish me by saying we're going to do fan fights, and then because he knows I love them, and then pull them away.
Oh, stop! You're ridiculous.
Fan fights. Come on, put them up.
Okay, give me a sec here.
How long I got to wait?
Okay. Oops. Let's see here.
There we go.
It's a girl fight. There's some spitting and some punching.
Some spitting.
At least they're fans of opposite teams fighting each other. That at least makes me somewhat happy. Well, never mind. They're fighting from the same. They're both wearing red.
Ooh, they look all right. That's
big country down there. Looks like he's trying to separate the fight.
There's a big weight disparity betwing those two women.
I was about to say.
And again,
it looks like. Oh man!
Watch out! She slipped away. Boom!
Don't let him get the high ground, baby. You got to know that as soon as they go up on the high ground, that's never going to result in anything good for you.
Drag her away. They waited. They were watching. Says,
oh my God! They pushed her right to the ground.
She just fell. I think
she gets down there and keeps it going. Bam, bam. Throws a few punches.
Again, the fatal faux pas by not having it landscape view.
I know. I tell you one thing. Those guys, they've got to do better. They've got to make sure that they go ahead and flip it to landscape mode. Here's one too. I'll show you, Grumpy. I'm going to try to pull this one up on YouTube so you're able to see it. This one is exactly what I expect from the security officers. This is what, as a game day security guy, this is what I'm expecting from you, Grump. You always say, what are we supposed to be expecting, Grump? This is what I'm expecting. Here it is. We got these fans that are starting to rile things up. We got our yellow jerseys. They're saying, nope, don't get into the fight, stepping in between. Look at this. The yellow jerseys coming up here. Security. This is like a French-Canadian game, perhaps. Look at these security guards, Grump. Look at them go to work. Look at them splitting up these Canadians who are about to fight each other. This security officer down here needs to be doing a little more.
So that's a shitty fan fight, right? Is the reason why you wasted our time on this?
Well, Alexander sent it to us, Grumpy.
Yeah, I'm not blaming Alexander.
Well, you're going to see why in a second. They have a red-shirted security guy who gets mixed up. Another security man, the head of security, working his way up.
What? Come on, get up there.
He grabs the guy by the neck.
Looks like grabbed him by his ears.
He starts throwing punches, Grump. He's had enough of it.
Oh, look at him. His belly's exposed. And the other guy's trying to cover his
that.
shirt up. Hey, come on, pull the shirt up there. That's the worst thing you could have.
Head of security's going freaking berserk.
Oh, my goodness.
He's like, my God, I don't know what led to that, but the head of security was not taking any kind of that.
No. Oh, no. Oh, no. Sacre bleu. Look at him. He's shoving him a little bit. What the heck?
Oh, man.
You ripped my shirt. I lost some buttons here, buddy.
I just did find it funny that the head of security or the guy in the red, who's different than all the yellow shirts. Maybe he's a manager, security manager. They didn't take too kindly to that and started wailing on the guy, started throwing punches.
Look at this kid.
I like how he goes right back to the stands, too. They're not escorting him out of the stadium. Get in a fight with security? Don't worry about it. Just go back to watch the game.
That guy didn't lose his shirt.
Yeah. Andriel says, has there ever been an Islander fan fight? No. Not that
I'm sure there has been, just none that we've gotten any video proof of.
Brian J said, French, LOL. Come on, end this. Yeah, they're not very aggressive people by nature. So,
oh man.
Anyway, Grumpy, man, we're at the end of the show. What do you want to say before we wrap things up?
I just want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens, and even those who don't. From TJ and the Grumpy Old Man.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you for tuning into the show. Make sure you leave a thumbs up. It helps the algorithm. And if you're new to the channel, man, we invite you to come back. We invite you to enjoy us or to join us again. We invite you to like on Facebook, follow on Twitter, and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This next Wednesday's episode of Islanders Never Say Die podcast, we'll have Nicole Sherman on talking a little Islanders prospects. We'll be talking. I just got a news from another guy who's got a hand on the inside, says Gaudreau looks to be a done deal to the Islanders. So, okay. Man, oh man, at least we'll have some Islander news to talk about. But thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you again, Grumpy Old Man.
My pleasure.